All right, guys, we are back in action here. All right, so let's hold on. Let's go back this way. Okay, I just want to make sure we have everything good to go. Okay, let's go ahead and share the screen. Let's see if she's on yet. All right, so nothing's happening just yet, but we're a minute early. You guys know Candace runs late sometimes. So, all right, we are here and waiting. So we'll just keep checking back. I know she runs behind. Hello, we're back. I hope everyone got their dinner in and oh, no problem. I love hosting you guys. You haven't missed anything. She's not talking yet. So I'm going to refresh this. Let's see if anything's changed, but I have the reminder on. She hasn't started yet, but we've seen where she runs a little bit behind. So we're just waiting on her. Florida here. Oh, fellow Floridian. No problem, guys. I don't mind doing this. We are back. I hope everyone got their jammies on. Sorry, that's kind of like kiddish to say. Pajamas, we're comfortable. Hopefully everyone has a beverage of some sort, some water, because we're probably going to be here for a while. At least an hour, I'm sure. No problem, Susan, of course. Hello, welcome in. Yeah, I don't blame you guys. Yes, I do, you guys. I have hot tea right here. Got the jammies on. We should make this like a channel thing, like pajama party live or something. I don't even know. Our own exclusive. Why not? Hello. Hey, patriotic housewife. I'm in my jammies. Thank you for this. No problem. I do not blame you guys for being on X. I tell you guys over and over again, I literally am on there for the info. But it is like such a toxic website that the negativity, the rudeness, I just can't with X. She's still not on there yet. So I'm going to keep refreshing. But I'm on there to get the information, to bring it to you guys. That's the only reason I go on there. Sometimes I go on there and I see some of the information. I'm like, I'm good today. Yeah. Candace is supposed to be on at 8:30. It's 8:32, but Candace does run behind sometimes. So it is a watch party. So pajama night live. I know, right? That's what I said. We should have like a pajama night. Let's see. Has the same lying spirit as Candace. Oh, okay. Well, we're just going to ban you and delete your comments. There you go. We're getting rid of anybody in here who's trying to start trouble. We don't need trouble before bedtime. We're good. Sprite 0 for the win. I'm trying to scroll through and read comments, guys. Candace runs late. Do you know when she usually schedules her stuff and next thing you know, she's 10 minutes after that? You got your cup of mint tea. I'm here and ready for this. Thank you for covering because I can't get this on the big screen from X, so you're a lifesaver. No problem. I mean, I was going to listen to it anyway, so I might as well just be here with you guys and going over it. Still nothing. We're waiting still. Look at this. 427K have seen this. So I think there's going to be quite a bit going on here. Now, I'm curious because I should have showed you guys this earlier, but it's Morgan Ariel. She is on here. I think I told you guys that she's done a lot of sharing of information and different things, and she was resharing Candace's stuff and that throughout the time, but she seemed to switch her views. So I'm curious to see, because Candace said, "Well, come on." She also invited Harrison from InfoWars because he has an opposing view. Huh? Refresh it? Okay, my husband said refresh it. So we gotta. Okay, here we go.
Okay, cool. Amazing. I'm going to try to, Harrison.
Can you guys hear it?
Right,
Let me know in the comments. You can hear it.
Figure out. I'm gonna try to get through all this tech stuff early on because it's not my strong suit. Usually, Mark is doing this stuff for me.
Chat, can you let me know? Can you hear this?
Want to make sure
Okay,
are
good.
added on as speakers.
Let's go.
Just trying to. Okay, there's a lot of people on. Let me get through these requests. Okay, good button. Good button. I did want to make sure. I don't know if Morgan Ariel is in here, but I wanted to make sure that she was on as well. I'll come back to these. I didn't know I could do a co-host option either, so you guys have to forgive me because I'm not the best at this. Okay, I do want to start by just before I add every speaker. I think right now we only have Harrison, but I do want to add a lot more people. Especially Harrison, I'm glad that you could join because I do want to hear your perspective on things from the InfoWars standpoint. Okay, so I just want to start by recapping everything that happened with Fort Huachuca. I think that's, sorry, I'm going to add 2 more people here. Diligent, I'm going to add you. Nice to meet you. Add a speaker. Myron, I'm going to go ahead and add you. I'm going to add Ryan here. Okay, just gonna do that for now, and then we can just get started. Okay, so yeah, the first thing I want to do is just to make.
Hold on, guys. I don't know what happened with her. What the heck? Hold on. I don't know what happened. Did they stop her from talking, Alex? Hold on, guys. We're going to reroute this. Hold on, because I think this is on Candace's end. But hold on. Good thing I have X on my phone, too.
This is just the reality of how it happened. Okay, so it was a holy day of obligation, and I did my podcast. Obviously, we do not normally go to mass in the evenings on a Monday. I think it was Monday. I think it was Monday the 8th, and we went. So I literally jumped off the air my podcast. Ran to mass, and for whatever reason, maybe because it was just like later in the day, I didn't do my usual prayer, meaning that I normally start my prayers with gratitude, what I'm grateful for, praying for everyone in the family. And this time, for whatever reason, I just went with just basically pleading for a missing piece and saying, essentially like everyone recognizes that there's something very wrong with the Charlie Kirk story, but I just feel like there's like a small piece of this thing missing. And I'm just deeply praying for a missing piece. I just want you guys to know that was truly the backstory. I then go home after mass, sitting in my bed, and I open my laptop, and there are literally 50,000 emails in my tips box. That's the old box. That's not even more tips. That's the old inbox. And one just pops in, and it's from a woman, and she just writes, "I really think that you should call my friend Mitch. He has a story that you're going to want to hear." Okay. Never when someone drops a number, randomly call them. Obviously, I usually email back and I'll say, please give me some indication of this or that. I don't know what came over me, but I was like, aha, would this be an answered prayer? And I pick up the phone and I call Mitch. And he's kind of startled. I don't think he was just maybe with this friend. And he's like, I can't believe I'm speaking to Candace Owens. And he then proceeds to tell me the story of how he was at Fort Huachuca Air Base dealing with an issue that happened 35 years ago when he discovered a cartel tunnel. And he happened to, and I want to be very clear here because this is important, there were only 2 people that he mentioned to me on the phone, and he felt absolutely certain that he saw them. Okay. He said on the evening of the 8th, he saw who he then learned later on was Erica Kirk. He saw her at the Candlewood Inn and Suites on September 8th. She was with a younger guy who looked like he was in special forces. He talks about his watch. And the bigger thing for me was that the next day he said that he saw this meeting that he accidentally stumbled upon what must have been a very important top brass meeting. Essentially described it as like there were 12 to 13 O6s, and you don't see that much unless it's a very important meeting. And he described the meeting in military terms. The way that I understood it was basically, this is like final hands on deck. We're about to go on, and there's going to be a mission. And he stumbled into this building by a long set of circumstances. He was going to get a coffee. He didn't realize that JTF had gotten back together. He struck up a conversation because he recognized the patch of the 10th Mountain Brigade, and eventually they tell him, "Oh yeah, we're actually using this random offsite building. We're back together. It's now JTF Southern Border." And that's how he walked in. And at that moment, he was talking to people at the front desk. He saw Brian Harpole walking out of this meeting with somebody, and I'll tell you when we started talking about Mark Amadei, but he initially did not contact me about Mark Amadei or Cabot Phillips. It was, I recognized Erica Kirk on September 8th, leaving the Candlewood Inn Suites on the base, and I recognized Brian Harpole on the 9th, the morning of the 9th. The meeting was concluding at 7:30 a.m. Now, obviously, because the September 9th, the way that he described it was, first and foremost, this is like, we're about to do a mission. It's the day before Charlie Kirk dies. There's been a lot of speculation about Brian Harpole. He definitively has lied about things which are on my list. He lied about what they did to prepare for Charlie speaking, kind of showed the messages. He was a bit weird about that. I was going, okay, that's really the most compelling piece for me. It's like Brian Harpole, because I'm running in my head, okay, obviously the Erica thing could be interesting, but that's on the 8th. Maybe Erica was with Dan Flood. I mean, she has security. It's Fort Huachuca. It's kind of in their, the Phoenix backyard. Maybe she's there for a different reason, picking something up. Her mother's sick. Her mother works in defense. Like, my mindset was just, the Brian Harpole thing is the most compelling piece for me, because I think he's been acting weird. And obviously, I was not going to just assume that I should have him on the show before I went through some basic fact checks. I ran it up to some person that I trust very much, that is in government, that is in the military, asked him to vet the story. I mean, I was basically up all night dealing with this, because I was going, oh my gosh, what if this is the answered prayer? And we are about to be able to assert definitively that Brian Harpole was there. So I did those sort of basic checks. And then it was December 9th. And I just told the story of what Mitch had told me. I did not mention Erica's name. That's very important, because I did not, again, think that that was necessarily relevant to the meeting that had happened on the 9th. And I wanted to speak about Brian Harpole, and I just said it was a blonde girl. Anyways, that's the 9th. On December 10th, is the very next day, is when Erica sat down with Harrison Faulkner on Fox News, and she addressed conspiracy theorists as sick and said that she wanted them to stop. And then suddenly I'm trending, and people are like, well, she's basically saying that you need to stop. And I was like, okay, that's just weird. Then the next day, on the 11th, is when Barry Weiss used the snippet of the now infamous, stop, just stop, which the TikTokers went very crazy on. And I was like, okay, that is that was specifically obviously about me. It's like Barry Weiss said, the podcaster Candace Owens. And it kind of backfired, I would say, on the internet. And suddenly, the next thing I knew, Erica and I had a date to meet on that Monday. So that was Thursday. That's the stop, just stop snippet. Friday, I had no show. Sunday, I want to tell you this part because this is important. On December 14th, I received a text message from Ian Carroll. I hope he is in this chat. I'd like him to jump in case I get anything wrong here. But the text message was to me and my producer, and he was like, hey, like, I have something for you guys that I need to discuss. It's pretty urgent. When I got around to calling Ian, he told me that basically he had received information from someone. He didn't want to.
Oh my goodness, here we go again. They must really not want us to hear her, but hold on. We're going to get it going. Sorry, guys. I think that they're doing this on purpose, but we'll get it. And I can always rewind it too, so don't get discouraged, guys. We can always go back.
Giving you bad information to try to scare me from talking about the Fort Huachuca thing anymore, because I hadn't yet hosted Mitch to tell a story, but I had indicated that like I might do more with Mitch, or I might pass him off to Ian Carroll. Next thing you know, Ian Carroll's getting a phone call.
This is crazy. Why does it keep doing this? X is horrible. Guys, they must really not want us to listen to her. I'm tempted to just put it on my phone and we may have to do it without video because this is getting ridiculous. Try it one more time.
I came back and oh, actually, let's go back to the meeting with Erica because this is also relevant. During that meeting, I did not bring up the Fort Huachuca thing because I, first and foremost, needed to continue vetting various aspects of it, but also I have Brian Harpole's number. And so I was just going to text Brian Harpole directly. But it is worth saying that during that interview, Erica gave me Brian Harpole's flights and said, like, I know that you mentioned that you thought Brian Harpole was at this interview. Here are his flights. Now, you guys would later see those flights because Alex Jones then mysteriously has these flights. I took the flights from her. I thought it was interesting because I didn't bring up Fort Huachuca and I wasn't intending to bring up Fort Huachuca, and I hadn't mentioned Erica on the show. And I looked at them and I said, "Oh, well, this is not an alibi because the meeting ended at 7:30 a.m. and planes that left Fort Huachuca were back in Texas. Actually, the SAM plane, as we know, went straight to Texas. And I think Brian Harpole's flight left at like 3:42 or something in the afternoon in Texas. So I was like, this does not conflict with the idea that he could have been leaving a meeting at 7:30 a.m. So it's a pretty short flight to Texas. So I said that, and that was it. But I said, but thank you for giving me this because now I can tell people that I have these flights and also that he doesn't like yet have an alibi for that morning. I just wanted to mention that because I feel like that's important. Anyways, obviously, when we went back on air on Tuesday, I recapped I was tired and what just kind of went through kind of the high points or the things that we had discussed. It was a very long meeting. On Wednesday, we broke the story about Charlie's car, and that we actually had exclusive photos of what the inside of the car looked like. On Thursday, I made the decision to have Mitch on my show. And the reason why we made that decision is because we were then working in the background to verify other aspects of his story, and we were able to do that. I now felt beyond confident. He had sent me all of his metadata. He had sent me, as you guys already saw, his ID cards, his former passports, his new passports. He even sent me, now I can't say that this Mexican person was in the cartel, but his story was that he was being hunted by the cartel. He certainly had a like court documents documenting that a Spanish person had broken into his home and whatever had happened. So I believed him. I believed his story. I knew that he was a Green Beret. Like I told you, I verified that information right away. And I knew that he had stumbled upon this meeting and he thought this is why they were pulling him aside. They may have thought something else, but it was substantially true. Everything he said was substantially true. Whether or not he saw Brian Harpole, I don't really know, right? Now, of course, the decision to have him on, I was aware that I could not say to him, I felt that that would have been super inauthentic if I was like, hey, tell your story, but like, let's not talk about the fact that you think 100% that you saw Erica. Like that would have just been inauthentic. And I feel like people know that, I don't know, you guys would have just like sussed that out in 4 seconds. So I understood obviously that we were opening a can of worms because people were going to be compelled obviously by the fact that potentially Erica Kirk was on the base the evening before, if you will, on September 8th. But again, my main thing was Brian Harpole. During that time, as we were vetting his story, he described the congressman. He thought he was pretty certain that it was a congressman of some description. And he described him what he looked like, glasses, about the age, and he said the height was 5'9". So we were sending him photos of congressmen that we thought could fit the bill, just so you guys know this. And he was like, no, 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 no. We sent him Amadei, and he's like, this person looks very familiar. Like this could be the person. Like, have you looked into his story? Like, do you think that this could be the guy? Like, this is the first person that really looks like the guy. And he said, is he 5'9"? And I Googled that and it said he was 5'9". I actually think Google's wrong on that. I think his height is wrong. I will say that now. But it's important for you to know that he did not initially come to us with Amadei. We sent him photos. It was just Erica and Brian Harpole. Okay, so we have him on, obviously, and he says both of the names. And what happened thereafter is what I can only describe as like an explosion. I get contacted from somebody who's in DC, and they were very concerned and thought maybe somebody was feeding me bad information. And I was kind of interested in the phone call, not going to name the person, but was basically like, worried about your security and things like that. And I was like, I think we're good. Like, we're just kind of vetting the story. Then on the 20th, and this is very interesting, these two YouTubers, Valhalla and Paramount Tactical, reach out to Mitch, and they're being super nice to him. And they're saying, or one of them said, and I don't want to mix them up, but we have the video of it because Mitch is predisposed to paranoia. And he recorded them. And I'm going to drop the conversations. I'm happy to drop them after this live. They're so nice to him. This is on December 20th. And like, they're not questioning whether or not he was in the special forces. They're not saying anything weird.
All right, here we go again. We're just going to keep on refreshing, guys. We're going to get through this. I mean, if there's nothing to hide, why would this be happening? I mean, you can't even make this stuff up.
Is when they are suddenly calling him and they're like, oh, like, yeah, we're just concerned about Candace. Okay. Yeah. And you're going to see in a couple of days, he loses his mind and suddenly speaking to like exes and baby mamas, like he's Jerry Springer, but that was the nature of their phone call. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. I don't know these guys. And then on the 22nd, I get another phone call from Ian Carroll. Oh, he's here. I'm going to add you, Ian. Add a speaker. I get another phone call from Ian Carroll,
Maybe we should be
and this time
recording
Ian
this
is
on our
like
phones, guys, in
totally
case this gets
freaked,
deleted
like
one day.
freaked as in like very concerned, because obviously like I have a relationship with Ian Carroll, and to some degree he respects Valhalla, and he's like, look, I have this friend who's in the military. He has a YouTube channel, and he basically runs me through, and he's like basically saying that he wants to talk to me, and it was kind of said to me in a way that was like, if you don't kind of take this rope, like, and jump off of this Mitch train, like, what's going to come out about Mitch is going to be explosive, and you're going to like go.
This is crazy. We're going to refresh again, guys. Sorry. I really don't understand this. But everyone is saying the same stuff. Like a lot of people on X are saying keeps crashing. So it's intentional,
Talking
I
about
think.
his like ex-wives. I was like, I don't care about any of this. And I said to Ian, this seems to me like they're trying to distract me with stupid stuff. Like if he has something that is concrete that like Mitch somehow defrauded me or lied and did like definitively was not a Green Beret, then please just have him email it to me. And I said, and if he emails that to me, I will deal with it immediately. And I also made it clear to Ian that because they were like, oh, then like she could get in trouble for fraud because she raised money for this guy and he wasn't even like a Green Beret. I was like, first off, he never asked me to raise money for him. So the idea that he was doing this to defraud me for money, that came out naturally when I was live. I said I would do a give, send, go because I said people were going to start digging up things. Like I just had a feeling like I thought it would be other people, but I just felt like, oh, let's like raise money for him. He had a tough life, whatever. And I had that court paperwork of what he was going through. So that was natural. And not only that, but the very next day, which I will show on my show this week, Mitch sent me an email the day after I started the Give, Send, Go. The morning after, he sent me and Skylar an email and said, thank you so much for raising money, but I do not want to accept this money from you. And he was very self-deprecating. He was like, I'm just a fat, ugly man, and I just wanted to help, and I don't deserve this. Like, I don't deserve this from the public. And then I called him and I was like, Mitch, this is kind of stressful. Like, I don't want to figure out how to like give people back all this money. And he was like, how about this? If the tip that I gave you proves fruitful, like if it's actually Ryan Harpole or if it's Erica, then I will take the money. Otherwise, I don't want it. So he was never trying to get money from me. That whole, he's a fraud. He was trying to steal. Like none of that is real. It's just completely made up. And again, I will drop the receipts of exactly when he emailed me the morning after. So yeah, that's what I said to Ian. And I was like, I just don't care about anything about his background at all. I want to know if they have anything about him not being Green Beret. I will obviously post an update and say this guy completely tricked me with his metadata and everything. They were unwilling to do that. They did not want to do that. And so that's when they started, I guess, talking to his estranged son from 20 years ago. I don't know. I don't know because I knew that it was an intentional trying to pull you, like they want to bring you down in mud so that you don't go forward and you have to just focus on the facts. So that is the backstory of Fort Huachuca. We all then know what happens next. And Alex Jones jumps into the foray. He's talking about Mitch's history. He's putting out all this information. Mark Amadei did, I do want to say as an update, I scrubbed through looking for roll calls, and then somebody indicated to me that they see him in his chair. He missed the roll call for some reason, but early on in the video, I agree, it does look like Mark Amadei. So that might be, it could be him. And we're looking for somebody else who looks like Mark Amadei. And I also think his height is wrong on Google. I don't think he looks like he's 5'9". So Mark Amadei might be completely like off the hook on that. And again, he wasn't the person that Mitch initially said we gave him that photo. Now, the Cabot Phillips thing is also very interesting. I don't really care about like, Mitch's estranged relationship with his son. Like, I'm not interested. I'm not Maury. I'm not here to like bring families back together. But I tried to debunk him. I thought that was very easy to be able to debunk him with Cabot Phillips, because Cabot Phillips, he has a daily show at the Daily Wire. I think he does it maybe 3 times a week or something. But the Morning Wire, obviously, I worked the Daily Wire, and I was like, well, that's pretty simple. If you're saying that Cabot Phillips was here in Arizona, he actually lives here in Nashville and he has a show. Let me just go find him on his show. Well, it also turns out that Cabot Phillips, from September 4th all the way through to September 10th until September 11th, took a vacation and he wasn't on his show. So when I realized that, I did the right thing. I messaged Cabot Phillips. I sent him 2 messages asking if he could just answer whether or not he was there, because I don't want to throw like any shade his way. I had sent him, just to get to the Cabot Phillips bit, I had sent Mitch multiple photos of guys like this person. I thought maybe Dan Flood. This, he's like, no, 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 no. I gave him no context, but saw that Cabot Phillips was trending, and I had no idea he was one of Erica's exes. I sent him the photo, and he's like, that's the guy. That's the guy that was with her. And again, I'm now relying on Mitch's memory. I don't know what his facial recognition software is. If it's like mine, it's terrible. Okay. I can meet someone like 5 times and still not place their faces. But if it was my husband, he can meet someone once and he's like, that's him. We saw him at the airport in New Jersey. You don't remember. And I'm like, of course I don't remember. Some people have it, some people don't. So I just wanted to try to confirm it. Cabot Phillips did not respond to me. Okay, he's not, you can say he's not required to respond to me. That's fine. I'm giving you the information. I would probably respond, like, just because it's such an easy thing to do. But that was interesting. I was compelled by that. He said that he thought the person was potentially a pilot or would have had pilots in his family, because Mitch said, I'm a watch guy, and I recognized his watch, and it's a watch that pilots wear. It's digital. It had a yellow button, whatever, whatever. Well, there's never been anything publicly about Cabot being in the military. So I was like, that seems wrong to me. And then sure enough, I dug up a post that his grandfather was I don't know, like awarded high honors in the military and was an Air Force guy. So I was like, okay, well, that's another like interesting thing that's happening. I would like to look further into that. Now, in terms of people saying that, Erica doesn't owe you an alibi, I didn't ask Erica for an alibi. So when suddenly I realized that Paramount Tactical was speaking with Andrew Colvett and she was providing an alibi to Andrew Colvett, well, then suddenly now, if you're going to provide an alibi, then let's provide an alibi. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy to just like communicate whatever that alibi is. I never demanded it privately. I didn't demand it in her face. And I still don't, even if she had said, yeah, I was at Fort Huachuca, I was at a hotel and I was dropping off a package, that doesn't necessarily put her at the meeting the next day. But Mitch did say that the person who he thinks looks like Cabot Phillips was at that meeting the next day. So obviously that's interesting. Like, obviously, if we're investigating this, we should just, like, we could check it off the list and move on. I have messaged Brian Harpole, just so you guys know, thus far, I want to say 4 times, at least 3 times, asking him. Again, we can't say he was willing to give his flights, but doesn't want to also just give his metadata or a picture or something they took a text message at that time to clear his name. You either want to give an alibi or you don't want to give an alibi. You either are saying, I don't owe you an alibi, I don't want to answer at all. But if you're going to do something halfway, then you should provide a full alibi. Now, I will say that I had some communication. I did message also once the thing exploded with Andrew Kovac, because he's just getting on my nerves. Like, really, I have been so nice in terms of what I have told the public about things that Andrew Kovac told me. He's starting to like a little bit play with the bull, and we're getting real close. We're getting real close to me just saying, if you guys really think that I have not been fair, you will really recognize how fair I have been if he keeps pressing me. And I felt very pushed by that Paramount Tactical thing. These people are lunatics, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, send me a text and I could have shut it down immediately. But you're like I'm assuming you're also the person talking to Andrew. I mean, speaking to Alex, because Alex did say on his show that he spoke to Turning Point USA people, and like he had.
All right, we're gonna have to refresh this again.
I don't know, I guess
Okay.
sort of denigrating what we were doing. I then was like, okay, let me text someone more responsible at Turning Point USA and ask, hey, do you guys want to give me an alibi? So I put Andrew Colbert and the COO in a chat, and I was like, hey, just figured we could have a direct line and you can just give me Erica's alibi and I'd be happy to publish it because I'm not interested in like throwing mud on someone's name. I just want to get to the truth. That conversation was had yesterday, and they did give me an indication of what she was doing, which was making dinner for Charlie. I have asked for metadata to show that it was Charlie that she was texting, and I'm still waiting for that. So the last conversation I had with them, I think that was yesterday, Sunday at around 1 o'clock p.m. ish, my time central, I think, and they said that Erica got busy with the kids and that they were going to get me something. So I'm still waiting on that. Just so you guys know that I have been responsible and speaking to the people directly trying to get the information. Now, obviously, Sam, I very much agree with you, and I'm going to let you jump in here. Actually, let's start with Harrison because I would love to hear his side. I think it's for the most part, he's done a lot of great work. He has not been feeding us a fed slop and telling us that Charlie had a magic neck, and it's good to hear from people who disagree with us. So Harrison, if you want to unmute yourself and jump in, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I guess my whole thing is, why does this meeting even matter? Like, what is the actual claim that's being made here? That's been my confusion the whole point, the whole time, is like, okay, let's say that there's absolute proof, photographic evidence that everything that Snow says is true. Like, who cares? I mean, what does that prove? What is the actual accusation? Who do you think was conspiring with who to do what?
Yeah.
And I think obviously the name of the episode was, the day before Charlie Kirk was murdered. The insinuation is that this was a assassination planning meeting, which I don't even see any evidence of that. And then people I'm arguing with online are saying, no, this has nothing to do with the assassination.
Yeah.
So I guess if the space is why this matters, why does Fort Huachuca even matter? Like, what is the claim being made? I still don't even understand that.
So it matters because why would Brian Harpole be on Fort Huachuca at all? Right? It matters because he's giving an alibi, which means he doesn't want to be associated. Like, it could have easily not mattered. Kind of, to speak to your credit, he could have been like, yeah, I was at Fort Huachuca with my brother. And my brother's in the military. I was dropping off some food. Okay, like that could have been then suddenly a dead end. That would have been nothing. Now, because Mitch had described this as a top secret meeting in an off-site building and had described this as top brass at the Pentagon and said that these sorts of meetings, and I am forgetting the military term, are when you're just about to embark on like a mission. I know I really uneducated, but military guys will sound better saying that. It was compelling. Like, okay, like I said, Brian Harpole was acting funny. He's been acting weird. He's been telling verifiable lies, and he cared enough to present an alibi, meaning he didn't want people to think he was there, right? So if you have to give someone an alibi, it's because you don't want people to think that you're there. An alibi is not needed if there's nothing to hide. So that's why it matters. I think that's why it matters. And this reaction, rather than being forthcoming, is why it suddenly feels like, okay, this is important because no one's acting normal. No one's just like, oh yeah, cool, he was there. Like, it also is, as we have now learned, it's an intel base. He was telling the truth about exactly what building it was. I didn't name the building on my show because I wasn't sure if that would be like a national security problem, but it just happened to be that JTF was borrowing that offsite building, and it was supposed to be a top secret meeting for those purposes. Somebody that was involved in blacking out the windows had sent us a tip. Again, it's how people are reacting to the meeting that lets us know that it's important.
Okay. I mean, I guess
regarding the hotel, I never said it was important. Like I said, my perspective was there's 1,000 different reasons that she could have been at that base. Her mother has a contract or had a contract, has a contract with the DOD. Erica has been open about her mother's ties to the military in the past. She actually did an interview and said that she moved to Arizona because her mother had a contract with the military. So again, weird thing is when Andrew's like, Erica wasn't in some fort, as if he's never heard of Fort Huachuca. His brother is in the military. His brother is a Captain Curtis Colvett. His first cousin is Captain Robert Colvett. So that kind of a language is why I've named this Why It Suddenly Really Matters, right? It was sort of one episode. I didn't exactly dedicate a whole series to it. The reaction has been so almost like violently obsessed that the public is now going, oh, okay, well, it feels like there's something here. I think that's just sort of our natural instinct.
Okay. I mean, I think if you're saying that somebody is somewhere and they weren't there, then providing the alibi is not in and of itself suspicious. If the alibi is not confirmed, I guess you can be suspicious of that. But again, I still, there's still not an answer. Like, okay, let's just say you're right. Let's just say that absolutely they were there.
Yeah.
What does that prove? What is the accusation? Because what it sounds like, and I mean, what the insinuation obviously is that this was a planning meeting for the assassination, and the people there had pre-knowledge of the assassination and were therefore in on it. So I think that if you are making that accusation, which in effect you are, right, you're in effect saying, okay, Erica Kirk and the head of tpusa security were at this pre-assassination planning meeting.
Erica was there, so you guys have to stop repeating that. It's Erica was never at that meeting, and that's another thing. I've never said Erica was at the meeting. Mitch has never said Erica was at that meeting. There was never an indication she was at that meeting. He did not see her on September 9th. It was Brian Harpole who was at that meeting. To my knowledge, Brian Harpole, I don't know why he would be at an intel base at a meeting with top brass. And what I can tell you is if he was there, Turning Point doesn't know he was there. According to Erica and Justin Strife, who I sat down for 4.5 hours. So if Turning Point has him on their payroll, and they've outright purchased a security firm and they don't know what he's doing on an intel base, yeah, it matters. And we don't need to know the conclusion to follow the clues here that something's wrong. So that there's this fashionable thing where people are always like, well, what's the final thing you're saying? We don't know the final thing that we're saying because that's not how an investigation works.
Well,
we have to follow the thing that's the lie. We have to follow, okay, this guy said he was here, he wasn't. What does that mean? I don't know what it means yet. I don't know what it means yet. What I'm saying is the reaction to this is not normal. Brian Harpole shouldn't be on an intel base if Turning Point doesn't know about it. And he's presented an alibi that doesn't actually cover where he was, but he felt it necessary to give an alibi. So, I don't know, interesting. And I think we have a right to think. So, if that's cool, I'm just going to let somebody else jump in right here. I think, is that okay, Harrison? Or do you want to just have a final thought there?
Sure. Okay. So Erica Kirk was not there. You don't believe that Erica Kirk was there at all.
She wasn't there on the 9th. She was not seen on the 9th. It's not about whether I believe she was there. She wasn't seen on the 9th. That was never said. He never said it. I never said it.
Okay. But yeah. She was seen on the 8th.
Yes. And not at the Intel meeting, not in the Intel, headquarters or whatever building they were using. She was not seen with the top brass, nothing like that.
So the pre-assassination planning meeting happened on the morning of the 9th. She was seen in the area on the afternoon of the 8th, but those were unrelated. She just happened to be there.
They were related because of the person she was with, who he believes looks like Cabot Phillips. He did see that person at the meeting on the 9th.
Okay.
All right, guys. Sorry. They really are working hard. And I know this is happening because my husband and I keep checking X, and we're doing pretty good compared to other people.
Nobody is going to remember the name Mitch Snow or Fort Huachuca, and this is not going to go anywhere, and that this is a nothing burger. I just think it's an absolute nothing burger that's not going to lead anywhere. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. You can prove me wrong. But again, my whole thing has always been that this devolves into this question of like, was he there? Was he not there? And the whole time I'm just going, what does it matter? If the conclusion is that he's a complete liar, it's the exact same outcome as proving that these people were actually there, because so far you haven't connected it to the assassination in any way whatsoever, except that maybe this guy thinks that he saw people that are around Charlie Kirk. And my whole point is, obviously the insinuation is, I mean, again, when you're saying Erica Kirk was there, but not actually there on the day, but in the area, but not because of the assassination meeting, but it's like, okay, clearly the insinuation is that these people had something to do with the assassination. And you can make that claim or not, or pretend that you are, or pretend that you're not, but you obviously are. But like, that's all. I don't really care about any of that.
Thanks,
but you have to.
Thank you. Let's give somebody. I think
Okay.
just for you to say something clearly and obviously and clearly doesn't make it clear or obvious.
Okay.
I'm following this investigation. Charlie was assassinated. I'm going to take every step, and I'm going to say what I know at the exact time that I know it. So I cannot say that it was definitively an assassination meeting. I can say that I have a feeling about this meeting, that if it is in fact Brian Harpole there and he's lying about that, then that's not good. It's not a good thing, because there's no reason to lie unless you have something to hide. But thank you so much for your feedback. I appreciate that, and hope to speak in the future. I am going to allow Ian. Did you want to jump in here?
I'd be happy to, but depends on what you want to talk about. I had to jump in late. I was in a different meeting when I got some text messages of like, yo, get in here.
Oh, yeah. I was just mentioning, I was giving the timeline and just telling people when you and I had the call, and you were kind of just trying to give me a heads up about, Valhalla, I think it was Valhalla, right? That wanted to speak with me about Mitch, and that his backstory was stolen valor. I wasn't sure if I got something wrong, but I thought it was Valhalla, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have been trying to get a hold of you. I'm like a regular conduit for people trying to get a hold of you. You know how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, definitely there's been, it was once things started to fire up, people were starting to talk about like what they saw as holes in Mitch's story.
Yeah.
And it's been very interesting to watch how that has evolved on channels like Paramount Tactical, especially.
Yeah, and now I don't know if it's evolving or devolving.
Yeah.
But
I do want to say though, real quick though, is that I was expecting Valhalla to go way more off the rail. Like, he definitely voiced his opinion when he did his episode with all of his evidence. He definitely came out hot and voiced his opinion. But I actually was pleasantly surprised by how Valhalla did that, in the sense that based on what he knew and the source that he had, he condemned what he saw as what Mitch was and what Mitch's actions were. But he also didn't like. I felt glad that he didn't overstep himself and kind of blow up on you too hard and try to like over extrapolate what he was showing. But I also have been watching what other people have been bringing out about Mitch since then, that seemed to make me question whether what Valhalla had was the whole story. So I'm just kind of sitting back and watching.
And that was also another thing. I think that's a good point, Ian. Was like people that were pretending that they were speaking to like his like baby mamas and his son that he hasn't spoken to since he was 2, by the way. So if he hasn't spoken to him since he was 2, the implication is his son knows his father through his mother. That's like what happens when you don't speak to your father since you were 2. But it is interesting that they didn't do any background checks on the women, who then I saw, and I didn't want to again get dragged down in the mud, but like they had accused a few men, but they stayed away from that. It was like, no, like this is what's out there about Mitch. And that's why I was saying to you, like, I was like, this feels to me like a way to distract from what I basically am trying to do, which is I feel like I'm the only one who's actually trying to debunk Mitch, going to Brian Harpole, going to Turning Point USA and saying, hey, like, give me something. I'm happy for this to be wrong. Whereas everyone else seems to just be trying to distract. I do want to let's do Ryan and then Isabella, and then we'll do Diligent Denizen. I think that's right.
Diligent, actually, his app kicked him down. You should re-add him.
I did.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Candace, I'm just jumping in here listening right now, so I'm going to hang out for a minute, and then I'll jump in at the end.
Cool. Awesome. Isabella, did you want to jump in here?
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me up here. It's been a lot of debate going on with this, and I think Harrison did bring up some good points, and I've been really interested in the drama between you and Evan, and I'm curious, so Morgan and Evan are friends, and did she just randomly reach out to you and let you know this? Because that's a little shady on her part with Evan.
No, she didn't. She actually did it by accident. So she, I don't know her at all. I think she's had a pretty good opinion about stuff, and she's definitely kind of been one of the early people on saying how she was treated when she started talking about Israel. And so I think what happened was we should definitely separate Evan from Israel, Evan from Morgan. Morgan kind of, it seemed weird because it was like nothing happened, and then they both kind of wrote these statements. And you don't actually have to, break up with anybody on X, that you can just just not agree with something. I don't know. I never feel like the need to write like a very long statement if I disagree with something, a commentator that I'm listening to. I'm like, kind of like, I listen to, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I'm never like for a long time, I've really loved Matt Walsh, but his take, it's like, I don't know. So I think it seemed a little extra to people on the outside that were looking in.
Yeah.
And it was at the same time. And so I messaged her and I was like, I follow you. You could just message me if you thought some part of your story wasn't real. And I sent her some docs about the cartel person. I was like, he sent me so many docs that like his story is real. Like, I don't, this happened. Here are the medals he received. I obviously did my due diligence. And she said, thank you. And then she was sending me a clip of, it was just a clip of Paramount Tactical. And I think she was sending it because she was like, oh, look what his son is saying. But actually, I found it interesting because the son then confirmed the story. Like that he was on Fort Huachuca Air Base. And she didn't realize that when she screen recorded, her text messages were coming in from Evan. And he was like saying what he was going to post. So I think it was just honestly an innocent mistake. But I was then like, okay, it looked weird that you both posted this. And now it looks like you're kind of coordinating it. And I think people felt it was coordinated because it's not a natural thing to do. Now, Evan, the reason I say I would separate him is just because like, he's just lying. Like he's like, this has been debunked. It hasn't been debunked. He's like defending Alex Jones and saying, oh, Alex Jones did say that, you met your husband through PJW. I'm like, no, he didn't say that. So he seems like he's being intentionally dishonest about stuff. She kind of just made one statement. Timing was a bit weird. Yeah, that's kind of how that happened.
Interesting. Okay. And then something else, like with what Evan is claiming, it kind of just reminds me of, there's a man that's coming into prominence and then you see a bunch of women come out, me too. It's like, okay, maybe maybe he's not correct. Maybe he's lying, but he does seem to have more evidence supporting what he's saying than these random disgruntled women. So I'm not saying that it's incorrect, that they're wrong, but I feel like we should be remembering that, hey, this is what these like women do, and the government will get behind them and kind of push them to say these Me Too things to discredit people. So
right. And the thing is and correct me if I'm wrong, but like there were no convictions. So it feels like we're getting involved in somebody's divorce and somebody's like, man, like it's just not my business.
It's always messy.
It's not my business. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry to say that I don't care, but I don't care. I care about who killed Charlie Kirk. I care about whether what he said he saw in Fort Huachuca is real or not. And every other piece of the story checked out. Like I got the military police report. So this just feels like mud, and look, like I said to Ian, I said, look, if your buddy Gary wants to do like, Becoming Mitch 9 seasons, let him do it. Everybody has to follow like what is their passionate life. And I was like, I just personally don't care. And so I encourage everybody who is feeling passionately against Mitch to go down that rabbit hole. I am focused on what happened that day. And thus far, nothing Mitch has said to me has not checked out. And even they won't even admit that they lied about some stuff in the past. Like when Ian was contacted, they were like, it's stolen valor. He wasn't a Green Beret. And then they like casually admitted on their show, okay, no, he was a Green Beret. But I'm embarrassed he was a Green Beret because look at these female and their allegations, but we're not going to mention all the allegations that exist with these women. Like that just feels like, it does feel like Me Too. And I'm just not interested in it. Morgan just actually jumped on. So I do want to add her as a speaker. And Morgan, you sort of missed maybe some of this, but I did just sort of run people through what happened and kind of said, like, I kind of view what you and Evan did to be different. And, I think for everybody, it was just sort of the timing of you guys, like, and the style of needing to announce it, I think was a bit different. And I think that's why you kind of got the reaction that you did. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to have the floor and say what you wanted to. Morgan?
Oh, hi. I didn't know that you were talking to me. I'm sorry. How are you?
Yeah,
How is everybody?
good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for giving me the floor because there's been so much freaking drama in the last couple of days, and everybody I feel like has been trying to pit us against one another for some reason. And I keep reiterating, I have no issues with Candace. I'm still 100% on board with the investigation. I have my reservations about Mitch, and I feel like I should be able to voice those concerns. And I know that a lot of people don't care about his past or his history, or I don't even want to say only his history, because currently it's my understanding that he does have open cases. But when we're looking at somebody's credibility, how can we find them credible if the only thing that we have to take is their word for something? And right now it's he said, she said. He said that he saw people there and we can only take his word for it. And when you have every single person in his life, not only the exes, but his children, who he's never had custody of any of them, they all say the same thing, that he's a pathological liar. I have trouble trusting an individual like that. And I just want to make sure that we stay on track in finding out what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, and so I think what I would offer back is that's what we have been doing. So rather than speaking to his son, I contacted people on the base. Like, okay, he said that somebody named Neff, which is what he said initially in contacting me, Captain Neff was the one who questioned him. So rather than speaking to his son from 22 years ago, I think the people would say, why don't you speak to somebody who's on Fort Huachuca base now and see if there's a Captain Neff there? And that's what we did. And we confirmed that Captain Neff and the 10th Brigade was there. He said it was in an offsite building, a JTF offsite building. We spoke to people at the base and they told us this is the exact building. Here's where it is in the map. And they are borrowing the space. He told us that this incident happened and the bomb dogs were called. So I made an effort and successfully got the police report. That's how we verify whether or not he's a pathological liar, is by verifying what he said. Right. And so that's why, as I said before you jumped on, I reached out to the people that were involved. I reached out to Brian Harpole 3 times. He wanted to give an alibi in the sense of like giving flights for 3:42 that afternoon. Okay, so what's stopping you from giving us what you're doing at 7:30 a.m., right? Like,
All right, guys, hold on. We got to refresh again. Every so often, this is like the game we have to play.
I am in the process, as I said, of speaking with Turning Point USA. We haven't yet gotten a clean answer from people who have indicated that they do want to give an alibi, right? Because Andrew Colvett is messaging Paramount Tactical with an alibi. Well, I'm your girl. I'm the only one I think that's trying to debunk Mitch. Like, because I'm like, give me your alibi and I will post it. So yeah, I think that's
I guess my concern is like, okay, so if they don't provide any alibis, then what happens? Does this just stay open ended and then it keeps being the main focus?
Well, they did. That's the point, and that's why this is now. That's why I named this. Why it suddenly really matters, right? So if they had like kind of stayed out of it, and we're like, well, I'm not even going to answer because it's so stupid, then we're like, okay, well, maybe he's just wrong, and that would be what it was. He would just be wrong. He wouldn't be a liar because he was where he said he was, and the people that were there, and Captain Neff was whatever. But they did give an alibi, so they do care, right? They cared enough to give it to like obscure YouTubers, which is kind of random. Like, it's like, okay, why are you wheeling and dealing? If Andrew Colbert did not get caught live orchestrating an alibi, it shows that Erica cared because she's showing her metadata. So wouldn't the common sense thing to be, if you care that much, rather than going through obscure YouTubers, like, wouldn't you just go direct to Candace and be like, hey, I saw you did an episode on this. Like, here's the information you're looking for. They all have a direct line to me. Like, I would have published it immediately.
Right. I wonder if say let's Erica does provide something, are people going to be are they going to accept that from her?
I would, and I would end it. Like, that's like, my goal is not to look stupid, right? So like, if she gives me like an alibi and she's like, here's where I was, like, why would I not just instantly be like, hey, here, like, it wasn't her. Thanks, Mitch. Like, it was a different blonde. Like, we've been very open to that. And I said that 1,000 times on the show. You either have really good memory when you see faces, or you have a bad memory like I do when I see faces. I don't know Mitch, so I don't know, but he was pretty detail oriented about the watch and little things. And I think beyond anything else, the reaction when Andrew Colbert is wheeling and dealing behind the scenes, it then makes things really compelling, right? If he didn't get caught on that live, I probably would be neutral. I mean, I did 1 episode on this. Everybody's acting like I've done like Becoming Brigitte. You know what I mean? Like, we've been investigating the Charlie thing. We've covered so many things. I do 1 episode on Mitch, and everyone's like, no, like, we gotta talk to his high school classmates. We gotta talk. It's like, dude, like, like, everybody calm down. I'm getting threats of lawsuits in the background. So like, Ian was like, I gotta talk to you before your next episode, is what his text was, because they were putting pressure on him to get me to stop reporting on this. They didn't want me to even interview Mitch. So I just find that to be compelling. Like, what is this panic about? Especially because you could end it in 4 seconds by just messaging me and being like, here you go.
Yeah, well, they never are forthcoming. I mean, that's the problem with Turning Point this far.
Yeah.
And they could put a lot of things to rest, but they keep gaslighting. So
Yeah.
hopefully they do. I still
I
don't
hope so
trust
too.
Mitch, but that's just where I'm at with it. And yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's fine. Yeah, and I want to say, like, I'm totally chill with that. Like, by the way, like, if I was running like the Bachelor show, I would get it. Like, you know, but I'm not asking people to marry Mitch. I'm asking people to trust me enough to have done my due diligence to tell you that he was where he says he was. And
I
that,
believe. I
yeah.
do want to interject and
And
say I do
so,
believe that he's there, that he
but
was there.
what I
mean,
can't figure out for what other reason, because he didn't ask to come on my show. He didn't ask me for money. Like, he literally had his friend send me an email saying, like, this is something that you should know. And then I asked him to come on the show. And then I randomly live said, you know, I wanted to raise money. And then he, which you missed, Morgan, said to me, I don't want the money the very next morning, and said, if the tip ends up working and it helps you solve the murder of Charlie, then sure. But I don't, you know, I'm not in this for money. I'm just like a fat, old, ugly guy. So like the whole idea of him doing this for money or doing this for fame just doesn't jive with the facts of how it all came about, you know? So for me, obviously I'm the one that's in the center dealing with him. Yeah. Do I think he's like paranoid? Do I believe that he probably hasn't been like the number one father in life? Sure.
All right. Sorry, guys. I feel bad that we have to keep refreshing, but like I said, I have people letting me know that they're having more problems than even us. So it makes you wonder, why don't they want us to hear this conversation?
You know, because they had
but
backgrounds too.
if there's if everybody's saying the same thing and it's just
Yeah.
one person, like, you're not the victim.
I didn't say it was big. I'm just saying that, like, you know,
I'm sorry,
that's
not
like
you, him.
you know where I'm at on the Harvey Weinstein stuff. Like, there were like 3,000 women, and I don't think he raped a single one. So I don't accept that argument. Like, I think we just disagree on the Me Too
Yeah,
stuff.
but he's like a nobody. That's different than Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, I just think, I don't know. I just like to hear both sides of a story when it comes to like allegations against men, whether they're famous or not. I just think it's like, I'm pretty like even on that stuff. I always have to hear both sides, but like, I didn't even want to care. I didn't want to hear Mitch's side about his ex-wife. I didn't want to hear her side about him. It's just not my business. But thank you, Morgan. I hope that clarifies everything. And like, you know, I'm glad that you're a part of the conversation, and you have every right not to believe Mitch.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Mel, would you like to jump into the foray?
Yes, thank you so much for having me real quick. So I just want to say, you know, I get everybody's kind of hesitation with Mitch. Having been married to a Green Beret, having been around the military my entire life, I have seen all of this, all of it. Okay. So I was a lot like you, Candace. I was like, I actually don't care. I don't care about any of the background, anything like that. All I know is that this man has made very specific allegations against very specific people with a time and a date. This is very easy to debunk. Very easy, right? He actually, in a way, set you up that could have made you look like a fool.
Mm-hmm.
And now we are about 2 weeks out. And these people are, again, using random YouTubers, funneling weird, bizarre alibis, kind of quasi non-denials through these weirdos, right? And we haven't gotten to the thing, hey, all you have to do is say straightforward, I was not there. I was not in Conchise County on this date at this time. This is not complicated. And again, Candace Owens is not a random person, okay? She's just not. She's not somebody with a small following. So people can say, well, they don't have to answer her. Well, that's fine, but they clearly care, okay? And when you have a large following and you get accused, or not even accused, because Candace hasn't accused, but when this comes up on someone's huge following, you answer it. You just do, okay? If you have an easy alibi, you just freaking do. I'm so sick of this pretending like, well, I don't have to answer all this crap.
Right.
No,
It is
actually,
stupid.
you do. Okay. Sorry, but you do. Because you guys have been weird about everything from the get-go. Okay. And everything about Charlie's murder is weird. Okay. I think weird is the one word that we can all agree on.
Right.
Right. And now I have looked into the NAR and Turning Point Faith and just the shadiness, the total shadiness surrounding this organization, which again is not its own organization. It is, in fact, an appendage of tpusa, which means it is tpusa. It's not like tpusa Action, which is its own organization. People I don't think really quite grasp the significance of that, of TPUSA faith being an appendage of TPUSA. But so I know all of the like shenanigans that they've been involved in. So when I heard about this originally, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Now, I don't quite know what that meeting means. I know Harrison wants some very hard, like he wants us to make allegations, and
he wants us to make a mistake, more than anything else.
Well, I don't hold on. Why would I want you
here?
why would I want you to make a mistake?
I don't know if you want me to make a mistake, but I know you have pressed pretty hard for I want you to make a definitive statement, and nobody's ready to make that, actually. Here's what I know. These are the things I know. I presented those to you last night, and then you came back at me with, what, so you're going to accuse me of being paid for? Which was really bizarre to me, because I felt like I was pretty patient and not accusatory at all. Regardless, I'm not even going to go into that. But
well, okay, no. I'll go into it for a second. You said that I was pretending to forget that Charlie Kirk was moving away from Israel, and I was saying the weird thing was by me saying, look, I don't get what this whole meeting is even supposed to be about, or why it would be suspicious, or how it connects to the assassination in any way whatsoever, and that is somehow extrapolated to be, I somehow think that the official story of Charlie Kirk's murder is true. I'm saying I don't think
didn't say that.
If you don't know Harrison, you can just keep watching the show. Like, you're not required to like if you're not sure where it's going to go, like that's kind of the point of just like, we're all kind of investigating this together. You know what I mean? We've been crowdsourcing this investigation. We have smaller pieces, and the smaller pieces become bigger pieces. Right. Do I know what it means that there are these like little flecks of what looks like there's plastic on the ground of the vehicle that Charlie was carried in after? No. It could mean somebody smashed their phone. It could mean somebody smashed their sunglasses. It could be, one of the theories is like, oh, look, an ADS-B exploded. I don't know. You're like demanding, what is it? It's like, I don't know. I just got the picture, man. Like, and so I think your energy is just, frankly, and I'm not trying to be judgmental, but like, it's a little lame, I guess is a nice way to say it. It's just pretty lame to like try to put this like unnecessary pressure or make it seem like it's weird that we have questions about why Brian Harpole would be at an intel base if he's actually there. Like, what do you get? What do you mean? It's giving Ben Shapiro, You never want to give Ben Shapiro. Just wait. You just want to wait and like see where it lands. If I start making allegations that are factually untrue, or if I don't recant something, if I go somewhere and it ends up being a dead end, then I would understand that energy. Like if like, Erica did hand me her perfect alibi, and I was like, well, I'm not going to say it because I just want to put it out there. But I was actually really hesitant to put Mitch on the show because I wanted, he was like 100% certain it was Erica. He was 100% certain it was Brian Harpole, but I wanted to be very careful about how I went about things. And so I think that we just don't appreciate like people that actually care and are standing up to the feds right now, unnecessarily being sort of tossed to the wolves by like your perspective, which is like, if you don't have a perfect narrative and it's not neat and buttoned down, then don't speak. Like, no, guys, keep speaking, keep asking questions. And if you're on this, like listening right now, you're going to get things wrong, and that's okay. Just you have the courage to say you're wrong. And that's what I do. I always do that. I just say, you know what? I thought this, it's actually wrong. Let's pivot.
Okay. I mean, I don't know where you're getting this idea that I'm saying don't do research or anything like that. I am confused why it's been a week of talking about this meeting and I still am not even.
You guys are the ones talking about it.
Because it's been I've been
off air for 8 days. Like,
it's been 3 months. I know, but it's been
I know for 8 days. You guys have been on InfoWars calling me a fraud, this, that, saying my husband's an MI6. Like, what do you mean? Why is this a conversation? Because you won't let it go. I had him on the show. That was it. We were investigating things behind the scenes, like, reaching out, like he had already reached out to people for alibis before I even had him on. Like, hey, this guy said this, whatever. And then all of a sudden you guys every day are obsessing over it and making up lies. Like, you guys are the reason it's big. Like, respectfully, like, this is the work of you and Alex Jones and Paramount Tactical and Baby Mamas from 2000s. Like, you guys made it a thing. You guys made fetch.
As a friend
you know what
of
I mean?
Sides, can I hop in and mediate real quick?
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of people come at this journalism from different angles and obviously
Oh my gosh. Mediate, Ian. Yes, mediate, because I think I'm losing brain cells right now. I'm sorry, you guys, to say that, but let's go back in here. Oh, geez. I don't even know. Do you guys feel that way? This is out of control. We're going in circles.
And I've always really respected Harrison. I'm not saying that I actually disagree with him on this take, but I do think that this he's not the whole InfoWars crew, and the whole InfoWars crew isn't Alex Jones. And Harrison's reporting hasn't been the same as Alex this whole time.
Right.
But also, I think there might be a little bit of coming at investigations from different angles from the nature of the journalism that you guys both do.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think we've been pretty fair. Personally, I definitely have been fair as far as like not conflating Harrison and Alex. And for like reasons I can't, because I feel like I've been pretty straightforward about why I think the Huachuca thing is important. I do think that things were happening behind Charlie's back.
Yeah.
We know that he delegated a lot. So even if you don't think like, oh, this is, and again, I actually don't think this was a like murder planning session. I actually.
Oh my goodness. Lord, give me more patience, because I don't know if I could keep listening to this merry-go-round. I feel like we're running in circles.
Wanted to maybe step back from the role that tpusa Faith was playing in this kind of global foreign policy, forward apparatus that his organization was being used for.
And by the way, I can tell you guys that like Rob McCoy and Charlie did not love Rob McCoy. That whole speech about him being his pastor, he had voiced his concerns about Rob McCoy. And so again, the broader consideration here is that Turning Point USA is just telling a lot of lies, and you don't tell a lot of lies. The whole world got behind Turning Point USA when Charlie got shot. Like there wasn't a single person who was not rooting for Turning Point USA on September 11th. Okay. And now we're at a place where it actually feels like the whole world is rooting against Turning Point USA, right? Well, the TikTokers are not liking Erica. The people online are not liking Erica. They feel like, that I'm sorry, but are we going to pretend that whole AmFest thing wasn't just like weird? Like we're popping up tents of like where somebody died. Like, I don't know, that's weird. And so, yeah, let's respect the public that we're recognizing something's off, and we want to know what it is that is off. And Andrew Colvett is definitely off. Okay. Like he is like off the chains. There have been just way too many lies, and there would be no reason to lie when you have the whole world on your side rooting for you. Why are you lying?
Well, since you mentioned Andrew Colvett, Candace, if I may jump in,
Sure.
And to address Harrison, and one of the things that I remember that I keep in
this
mind
is Saint Sam Parker that I interviewed on my
in an
podcast
investigation,
last week.
details matter, but you don't know what details matter until you investigate them.
Right.
And when this, and as an outside observer on this particular story, the Fort Huachuca story, all of a sudden I've been airdropped this detail that one of the top members of Charlie Kirk's security detail is at an Army intelligence base the day before Charlie's assassinated. Now, that's a detail. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if it's important or not important, but that's a detail. That is a definite detail, because Brian Harpole's job is to protect Charlie Kirk.
Right.
That's his job. That's his job as one of the top members of this security detail, is to protect Charlie Kirk, who the next day was assassinated. So, like, this is an important detail. What is one of the top members of the security detail doing at an Army intelligence base the day before? It might not mean anything, but maybe it means something. What does it mean? I don't know. I have to investigate it. Now, how does Andrew Colvett come into this? I'm reminded of the fact that he told you, Candace, that you and Tucker were on some list and possibly in danger. Well, so now I'm thinking in my mind, well, maybe he was at some sort of security briefing. Maybe they had some intel that people were in danger. Maybe that's what he was doing there. Like, I don't know, but it has to be investigated. It has to be sussed out. It could mean something. It might not mean anything. But just to address Harrison, and I like Harrison. Harrison's been good to me. No problem with him there. So that's what I'm just, from my own perspective as an outside observer, I've been airdropped this story, this detail, which has now mushroomed. It's like a big mushroom cloud now for several days. It's run wild, people on all sides fighting over it. It's become a thing. And now I have to grapple with this thing? Does it mean anything? Does it not mean anything? How can I
Right.
verify it? And I'm at the mercy of Mitch's recollection. I'm at the mercy of the TPUSA folks, Erica, Cabot, and Brian Harpole. And I'm faced with a situation now where they've turned it into something bigger than it needed to be, if it
Thank
indeed it
you.
is nothing. If it's nothing, all they
Like
had
that's
to do was debunk it. And not only that, but like they could have like slam dunked the ball in your face, Candace, and made
Yeah.
you look silly and stupid. And they left that money on the table.
Right.
And for the people who said, well, I'm not going to they don't need to dignify this, they already dignified this by giving half-assed non-debunking debunkings. I didn't ask
100%.
them to do that. They did that. They made this more important and relevant than it needed to be. I didn't ask for them to do that. So
Right.
now, as an outside observer, I have to grapple with like, okay, you made it bigger than it had to be. Like, what does that mean? I don't know if it means anything, but now it's a thing. Now it's a thing that I have to deal with.
That is how everyone feels. Like you are voicing exactly how everybody feels. We didn't know what it was going to lead to. And I was like, I mean, I couldn't have been more deferential in saying that this could literally lead to nothing, but like, because of this weird prayer and the way it came in, I think that we should follow it. The reaction has now made this feel so crucial. And it, again, why you do not need to wheel and deal behind the scenes, Andrew Colbert. And if Erica, as she did, is going to hand me Brian Harpole's alibi, then they care to clarify it, right? If you care to clarify his alibi, then get the rest of his alibi, right? Well, what is the halfway? What is the halfway? Here's his flights for the evening or the late afternoon, but we don't know about 7:30. And I did ask that question, by the way. That just reminds me, I asked that to Turning Point USA when I had the conversation on the phone yesterday. I said, you know, what's up with Brian Harpole? I've messaged. I'm happy to like debunk this, but this guy is certain he saw Brian Harpole. And they said, they told me that there was no, but basically the relationship between Brian Harpole and them had soured. That's what they told me. And they didn't just tell me that yesterday. I want to be clear. They also told me that when I sat across from Erica on the 15th. So there's not open communication right now between Brian Harpole and Turning Point USA. Yet they did feel it necessary to give his flights for the 15th. Well, if your perspective, and if I'm Turning Point USA and I'm going, okay, well, he's not answering this question, don't you think they should want to know if he was there that morning? Like, shouldn't they be like, hey, like, where the heck were you? You were on our payroll, actually, and you were supposed to be with us, and so now we like require to know where you were. And so there's also this nonstop lack of urgency with Turning Point USA, a lack of caring. Like they almost think like the details are funny. They don't care. I think that's how the public feels. They certainly don't care about any of this. Like, why else would you have a tent? Like, it's quite morbid. It felt like a seance to see that tent up and people taking selfies under it. And I think that that disturbs people. I think that there has been something spiritually disturbing about a lot of the decisions and communications that have been coming out of Turning Point USA. So thank you, Sam, because I think that you really just hit the nail on the head there in terms of why this suddenly feels very important when we were all willing to accept. I did one episode on this, guys. This wasn't like
I'm
crazy.
not married to this, Candace. I'm not married to this guy. I'm not married to this theory. Like, if it's nothing, then it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I still suspect that there's a good chance it could be. There's a really good chance it could be nothing. And I'm going to need I'm going to need really big receipts to believe it.
Right.
But if Brian Harpole's job is to protect Charlie, which he failed at, by the way, like, let's just be real honest, he failed. The team failed. They failed. If I'm TPUSA, how did you guys fail this? And if Brian Harpole's attention was split, or he was elsewhere, his head was elsewhere, he was going to meetings elsewhere, he's doing other stuff, like, I want to know that.
You're right. I totally agree. Myron, I'm going to let you jump in here too. I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me good, or am I coming in? Yeah. So, I'll be very brief here. We're all here for the same reason, right? We all don't believe the official narrative. As someone that used to work for the federal government and understands how investigations work, the official narrative has created more questions than answers. And Candace, kudos to you for going out there and trying to find those answers. And I think it's very important that people understand that when you're doing investigations, you're going to go down many different roads, right? You're going to talk to bad informants that might have ulterior motives. You're going to talk to people that are going to give you misleading information. You're going to do a records check here, and it might lead you somewhere that was completely not relevant to what's going on. Like, the thing that sucks here is that you're doing this investigation with millions of people watching you, and they're going to, try to say, oh, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, blah, blah, blah. the benefit, right, of being a criminal investigator a lot of the times is we work in the shadows, we do our investigation, we go down many different holes, then we come down with an indictment and an arrest warrant after we connect everything. Unfortunately, right, for you, Candace, you have a bunch of critics that want to sit there and say, well, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. I think you've done a great job of, trying to find the truth, and people are going to criticize and talk shit. And I think we're all here for the same reasons. The official narrative doesn't add up. They haven't been transparent. And that's why people are doing their own independent investigation. And the federal government's failed with being transparent with the people, and the people don't trust the government anymore. This is really an L for the G. So keep doing what you're doing. I know people are going to hate, and I think your heart's in the right place, and you're really trying to find answers here. And yeah, there's going to be, roads that sometimes don't lead where it's supposed to go, or roads that may be questionable. But I think talking to everybody and trying to get the full picture and being transparent about it is the way to go. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yeah, it's hard. I mean, we have a really small team. I think people forget, like, there's 4 of us, and it's so much work, and we're investigating every lead, and there have been so many that have led nowhere, by the way. I mean, you can imagine you're getting 50,000 emails, and some people just want to write hate stuff. Some people are giving you tips, and we're building those pictures in the backgrounds. We have so many um leads that are still being worked on from a long time ago, and we have to get on the phone with people, and we have to ask for verification, and we have to get when we get paperwork, we then have to verify if the paperwork is real, because I don't have expertise. And then I present something and I misspeak and I say E4 instead of O5 or O6, whatever. And the next thing you know, you get 1,000 emails of people telling you like you're an idiot. It's hard. And people also, I think, forget, and this is not like a woe is me pity party, but like, Charlie was my friend. Like, I went through a very real stage of grief. I'm still going through it in many ways, because I don't know what happened. Like, there's something that feels very unresolved about it. And he just shouldn't have been taken out like that. Okay. And their anger, which I think you guys have seen that last week or whatever, like, to see people like Ben Shapiro get on stage and pretend they were his friend. Like, you don't know what that does to me spiritually. Like, I just want to fight. Like, I want to physically get into a fight. That is like, it's just not okay. And there's something that is so grotesque about it at its core. There is something that it is so, it's almost satanic, right? I look at politics now and it makes me want to vomit. Like, to realize what they turned him into after. Like, they did not view this man as a human being. They did not care about Charlie at all. It was like he either was going to get them a check or he wasn't. And that, even for me, like, the ick I get from Turning Points, like, that man did not like that man. So what are you doing? Is this really just about like who writes you a check and gives you, like, they can just buy a friendship with Charlie? Like, it angers me, and I still have to like contend with that anger, that upset, and also trying to, okay, let me divert the energy into this investigation and trying to figure it out. So I do ask you guys to just recognize that, like, to recognize that there's a lot going on. And I will always, if I get something wrong, which is what I was open to doing, like I said to Ian, I was like, if you want to send me an email and he has the smoking gun proof that he wasn't even a Green Beret, I will run it and I will own it. But that's not the case. And so it just feels like petty. Like, if you're going to use your energy, like, we don't need you finding his exes, man. Like, we really could use your help. Like.
Yeah, I mean, look, professional criminal investigators don't get it right a lot of the times. There's a reason why a lot of cases don't get solved. People don't get indicted, they don't get charged. It's not easy to run an investigation. It's even harder to do it with a million people trying to Monday morning quarterback everything that you do and criticize every single thing that you do. So I totally understand, coming from that world myself. So look, you're trying to find the truth. I think you've been good about transparent. Like, if you make a mistake, you correct it. And, one of the negatives is you're out there in front of everyone. So people are going to give their opinions, and that's the negative.
Yep, you're right. Ryan, we'll go to you, and then we'll go to Diligent Denizen.
Yeah, no, I just want to tell you, thank you, Candace, for everything that you're doing. We all appreciate, at least one person out there that
You
seems
too,
like they want to
Ryan.
find the
You've been
truth.
crushing it. You've been absolutely crushing it.
Well, thank you. And I think that the thing that upsets, I think, most Americans is the fact that you're doing the job that we expect Turning Point to be doing, right? Like, this was Charlie's organization, and you're the one out here asking the questions, and they're almost seem like they're just content with whatever Fed slop narrative we get, and they're ready to move on and get the party started and go on to the next event and the next whatever. And it makes me feel anyways like that Turning Point and the amount of people that are going after and attacking you for trying to just find answers makes me think that Turning Point's something much bigger, that it feels like it's a giant money laundering operation, that it's a political machine, and that Charlie was just a pawn, right? That he almost didn't even know everything that was going on within his own organization. It got way too big for one man to follow everything. And some shady shit seems like it was going on behind the scenes. And I think there's a lot of key players that were involved in some shady shit that are they're incentivized to just kind of sweep this under the rug and buy the Fed slop narrative, because they don't want any attention shined on whatever shady shit that they were doing. And I think that's why Charlie was putting Doge together. And I'll end it there.
and I got a really big tip on that Doge investigation. I think there was something there. I think if this pans out, and it looks like it is panning out, Charlie discovered that there was a lot of money that was missing. And again, I'm trying to encourage this person to speak out. So again, one of the balls that's been in the air that I've been slowly working on, but I think all of our instincts have been correct. There's a lot more to meets the eye. And there's just been a lot of people that have been basically saying to us, these cheap tactics, to even question anything means that you are not you have to just accept.
Sorry, guys, I'm making it work with everything.
Myron, you got to turn yourself off, your mute on. I can mute your mic. Actually, that's a great ad. Yeah, so it definitely feels really weird. Diligent, let's go to you, Diligent Denizen.
Thank you. Yeah, what bothers me the most about this whole thing is the lack of curiosity. Like, here we are all citizen journalists. Every single person on this stage right now describes themselves as a journalist in some way, shape, or form, right? There's no curiosity, right? Like, when did we say, well, here's a good example. Harrison, you posted 2 weeks before Charlie Kirk died that there was a credible threat against his life. Has the FBI reached out to you to ask you about that?
No.
Also,
No.
are you going to tell us who that was? It feels like that might be relevant now.
Yeah. So in the absence of a rigorous investigation by the agency, we are led to lead this investigation. That is why Fort Huachuca is so relevant. But I was going to ask you, thank you, Candace. Can you tell us who told you that? Because
he's
the
dead now.
FBI is not asking you.
Yeah, I mean, the person that told me asked me not to say who they were, so I'm not going to give up a source. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Well, then, in the absence of answers and a rigorous investigation, we are led to do that ourselves. So every credible piece of evidence that we have to follow, every trail should be exhausted before we say, oh, well, this ain't worth it. And I have seen far more energy put into discrediting this Fort Huachuca witness than I have for people actually looking into the claim itself. Like Candace said earlier, she actually called people at the base to verify whether or not the events occurred. Was he there at that time? Where did it happen at, etc. But I see all of these people. It's almost like it's coordinated, right? All of these people on the same 2 days come out and say, oh, don't listen to this guy. They apply labels. You know why we apply labels to people? That way you stop listening to them. Oh, what he says doesn't matter anymore because he's an abuser, because he's a fraud, because he's this, because he's that, right?
Yeah.
Far more effort into discrediting that witness than there has actually been into validating the information that he's been given.
By the way, the best way to discredit him is to debunk his story. So I'm like, why don't you focus on this? Do you hate Mitch? Do you hate who he is as a human being? Do you believe he's a pathological liar? How about proving that something that he told us was a pathological lie? Doesn't that just make sense?
Zero convictions. All of the people saying that he was a fraudster, that he was an abuser, whatever. I couldn't find one criminal record of him being convicted.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, I couldn't find it either. They were showing no convictions. It was he said, she said. I mean, just full character assassination.
A one-sided divorce court that he didn't get to tell his piece in.
It was very Me Too. It was very Me Too. I'm sorry to say it. And when grown men are doing the Me Too shit, I just have no energy for it. I'm just all right, guys, cool, thumbs up. I'm glad you found his classmates in middle school or whatever, but could you use some of that male energy towards actually, if you think he's all of these things, the best thing to do would be help us prove that he's lying on the thing that we care about, which is the Charlie Kirk assassination, and no one has thus far done that. And he has not changed his story. So I am inclined to follow this, especially because we now know that Erica and Andrew Colbert and Brian Harpole do care enough to offer up, some parsed alibis of sorts.
But they didn't offer up, they didn't refute being there. I think is a very important point. Not one of the people, including Congressman Amidei with his statement, actually directly said, I was not in Arizona or at Fort Huachuca at this time on this day. Not a single one of them have denied it.
Yeah, and I did. I don't know if you were on earlier when I said that, like, when Mitch first contacted me, he never said Mark Amodei. He gave a description of the man and he said it was a congressman. And then I gave him, faces, and he was like, "This looks like the guy, like Mark Amodei." I think Mark Amodei is the only one that at least attempted to give an actual time frame that was relevant, and he gave the footage. And I do think it kind of looks like him. It's not definitive, but like it does kind of look like him that's sitting in the chair when someone gave me the time point. So.
All right, guys. Sorry again. I'm surprised that they're still going. This is longer than any live stream she does.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm still trying to understand like what Andrew Colbert is doing. I don't understand it. I don't understand what Andrew Colbert is doing. I really don't.
Well, obviously they care about the public perception of what's going on here, or they wouldn't give these half-hearted third-party alibis that don't really stand up under scrutiny, right? Because they do care about the perception. And the argument is, well, they don't owe you any answers. They don't owe you any answers. That's right. They don't owe us any answers. But also, they can deserve the scrutiny they get in return for not giving those answers, right? The suspicion that comes with that's part of not giving those answers. So it's a two-way exchange. Go ahead, Harrison. I see you trying to go ahead.
I totally agree with you on that. I do want to, let me add this person the speaker. We can do about like 10 more minutes here, because I think that we have covered all of the main points. And I think now everyone understands why the Sport Huachuca story suddenly matters, even though it was definitely not a focal point of this investigation. I do think that there is something here. I will tell you that, like, if I was to bet on it when I first had Mitch on the show, I was at 50-50 on whether or not he saw who he said he saw. Brian and Erica in particular, and Cabot Phillips as a third, which he felt, I think when I asked him a percentage on Cabot Phillips, he was like 90% sure or something. Now, like, I would probably put it at a lot higher, just based on the public reaction. It doesn't make sense to me. And Andrew Colbert is what tips me over the edge, I think. It makes no sense for him to go behind the scenes when he could just texted me and said, "Hey, I heard you covered this. Just wanted to give you this. Here's where Erica was." And, so you could update people. That doesn't make sense to me. And I've heard that they are spending a lot of money on an anti-marketing campaign, if you will. I am trying to get receipts on that to see if that's true. And if that does pan out to be true, then I think we have our answer. I just added you, Suleiman. Did you want to say anything, or did you just want to listen?
Yeah, I did want to say something. Hopefully my mic is working. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Because I'm just in an Uber. Oh, brilliant. I guess my question is this, that when it comes to, by the way, I first of all appreciate the work you're doing. And also, I think one of my friends is on your team. But that being said, one of the questions I have is, in terms of Huachuca, how does someone prove the negative? And what I mean by that is, I can't always prove where I am at all times. So, for example, how do you prove that you're not somewhere if you don't somehow have some kind of photograph you take on the day? Like, how will they be able to disprove where they were? And the reason I asked that is because you can ask that about anyone. For example, Sam, I don't know where Sam was when Charlie Kirk got assassinated. So will he be able to prove it or not? We just don't know. So I guess the question is, how do you prove the negative?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is like, just answer, right? Hey, I was not here. That would be like a nice, strong start. I'm Brian Harpole, and I was definitively not there. The second thing is, you would just be so surprised at how much your phone has. If you were there, then Brian Harpole would have had to have taken a flight to Fort Huachuca relatively early on the 8th or early on the 9th. I mean, he could, if he's awake at that time, this is supposed to be like a guy who's doing security. He's got to be up early. How quickly before you roll over in bed and text somebody about something, like whether it's like breakfast, whatever it is, you're texting, and that is creating a timeline of everything you're doing all day. Like if you asked me what I was doing today between, I don't know, 4 and 6, I could look through my phone and see who I was texting at that time, and we'd be texting about something relevant to what we were doing or where we were about to meet up. There are so many ways that I think you could show what you were doing, but I think the first thing would be just to answer. Like, it's a pretty straightforward, like, I don't see the upside in Cabot Phillips not answering. There's been so much innuendo about him. People are talking about like his pizza tattoo. Like, I don't think the energy of Ben Shapiro, I've been wondering what that's about. And so like when I saw it, like when he said Cabot Phillips, I was like, whoa, that I did not expect that turn. Because I had sent him so many people that like in Turning Point that I thought could have fit the description. Like maybe it was someone on the security team, and he was like, no, no, no. And then with no context, he was like, Cabot Phillips was the guy. And I don't know. I find that to be interesting that he was off. Now Cabot could just very easily just be like, I was on vacation. Like that's 7 days, right? I mean, he was off air from the 4th until the 11th. And hey, he's got the wrong guy, wrong memory. And I'd be like, okay, cool. But that's a long time, right? That's a very long time that he could send us something or anything. So yeah, I think there's a million ways, but it would start with just denying it, like it would be very simple, especially because it's gotten so big. And I want to be able to do that for them. I want to debunk it. I want it to be off of people's minds. Like if Cabot was just like with his family on vacation in Scotland, I want to be like, hey guys, like Mitch we're looking for someone that looks like Cabot. You know what I mean? And so we can focus somewhere else. Or Erica has airtight, here's where she was, this is what she was doing. And there really are just like, there's just another blonde who was on the base that day. I think that would make a lot of people feel good if they just did that.
And Candace, if they hadn't already
So
weighed in,
it makes sense.
That would be one thing, right?
So it makes sense what you're saying in terms of if you were to provide a text, what you're proving is that you texted someone, or they're not going to give you evidence that they took a flight to Fort Huachuca. So I guess because if they did it or they didn't do it, they wouldn't provide it either way.
Yeah.
And I guess the reason I'm asking the question is, I get the logic behind it. Like, first of all, the smart play would have been not to say anything. After he started giving evidence to that Green Beret, it now becomes the onus is put on you. So I understand it. I'm on your side on that perspective.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, hypothetically speaking, let's take Erica Kirk as an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say she wasn't there on September the 8th, but she hasn't got any digital footprint. Yes, she can deny it. That's one thing. But like, no one's going to believe it, even if she was to deny it. So how do you actually provide evidence that you weren't there? Because if you text someone, that's not evidence, because you could text from the place or from some other place. It's actually having like some kind of digital footprint.
Yeah.
So somewhere
Erica's
else
a
at the
perfect
exact same time.
example because they did. You might not have been on earlier, but I reached out to Turning Point again because, like I said, I'm not interested in chasing rabbits. That I want to actually know what's real and what's not. Sunday. What's today? On Sunday, I think around 1:00 p.m. I got on the phone with them. I reached out on Saturday, got on the phone with them sometime after mass on Sunday, pardon. And they were like, hey, like, yeah, she was like making dinner with organizing or making dinner with Charlie. Like, we're going to send you a message of like between her and Charlie speaking. And I was like, great, amazing. I will literally update Twitter right now and say like Erica was making dinner with Charlie. And they send me a message, but the contact was blacked out. So I went back, obviously, and I was like, hey, like, the contact's blacked out. Like, this could be a message between, like, me and George for all I know. And I was like, do you just mind, like, just sending, like, I know Charlie's number, obviously, so just, like, show me the contact. And they were like, we blocked it out because it's like a pet, I don't know, like a nickname that she has for Charlie or whatever, and she just didn't want you to see it. And I was like, okay, well, you can just like change the contact name and just send me just send me a video of you opening it so I can see Charlie's number and tell my audience like this is confidently a text chain between Charlie and Erica. And then they just said, look, it's Sunday. I think it was like 1:00 or something, and she's busy with the kids, but we'll get you that. And so I waited. It's now been obviously more than 24 hours. It's been like 30. I was yesterday at 1 p.m. Now it's 9 p.m. on Monday, and they haven't sent it to me, like just the number so I could see that it was Charlie, but I'm waiting. But there's a perfect example of how they could just easily show it. So I'm waiting for that. And if I get it, I will clarify to people that she was making dinner. And I also said to them, like, I don't need to show people the message either. So like, don't worry about like his, like, whatever you call him getting out there. Like, I'm happy to just like see it. And I think my audience trusts me enough that I would just say I saw it. So I'm still waiting for it. But that's a perfect example of how it could be done.
So that text message you're referring to, are you saying that it would indicate her specific location? Like she'd be like, oh, guess what, honey? I'm downstairs cooking, I don't know, roast
like
chicken for you. So
I'm recapping here, but it was pretty much like, hey, parking the car, like be up there for dinner, or like, and is dinner ready? Like, yeah, it's on the table now. Right. Well, if they have that and it has the date of September 8th, which it had the date of September 8th, and that was the communication, like dinner's on the table now, like I'll be right down or something like that. Okay, great. And they just blacked out the contact. So I can't obviously I can't say to you guys, like, it was a conversation, it could have been a conversation between me and Mel. It could have been, so I was just like, could you just send that without the contact blacked out? And so that's what I'm waiting for. But that's a perfect example because like you can't go back in time and make that communication with Charlie. Like who else would Charlie be messaging? Like if I could just see this is Charlie and his wife and it said like love you or something like that. So it would be weird if Charlie was randomly texting that to somebody else, but I know his number, so they could just show me his number.
And just one other question while I've got you here, and I think it's really important because I've been covering this like from the beginning, generally speaking. And you basically have like the Fed position, and then you kind of have your position, which is you've gone through a wide range of strands and wide range of avenues. And I guess a lot of people kind of sit somewhere, maybe in the middle, maybe a bit towards you, maybe a bit towards the Fed position, whatever it may be. And from your perspective, and I kind of know what you're going to say, but just as a question, from your perspective, like where do you sit with the people who don't fully agree with maybe all the lines of investigation you're doing, but then do question the Fed position? Like, I think a lot of people feel like there is this kind of idea that you either have to have the Fed position or you have to totally agree with you or Ian Carroll or whatever it may be. So like, where do you sit with that?
No, I appreciate everyone that's investigating. If you're a person who is trying to convince us that Tyler Robinson on a rooftop by himself with no help took a shot from a 30-06 and like, Charlie ate vegetables and stopped the bullet, like you are just such a useless human being. I really never want to I never want to see you. I don't want to follow you. I don't want to see a tweet from. I want you to just be off the internet. Like that would be great. But beyond that, if you accept that something's wrong, obviously, and like there's got to be more of the story, then great. That's why there is so much variety on the internet. And I do think there is a level of this sort of like crowdsourced investigation. So like I don't agree with everything that Ian comes up with. He doesn't agree with everything I say. Like I don't agree with everything Sam Parker tweets or Myron says. But the point is like I'm sitting here and I'm pulling together a picture because so many different people are able to pull together different strands. And I personally can say confidently that I sense that we are putting a lot of pressure on the authorities. They seem to be coming undone. There is definitively something here, and they were banking on our ADHD. Like they were banking on, we're going to throw like a memorial. We're going to make it amazing. We're going to give them Trump. They love Trump. He's going to throw red meat. He's going to say, we're going to make America great again, and we're going to move on. And it actually seems to be getting bigger and it's snowballing. And so something has to give. And so I'm grateful for every person, no matter where you stop on the train. Like if you're like, I believe you on all this, but I don't believe this. Like, I mean, that's really what Morgan Ariel just said. Like, I don't like Mitch. That's fine. Great. But let's keep the pressure on the feds and remember that like we are all united in recognizing that we live in a really effed up world. Tim Dillon did he made it comedic, but also like it was like dark comedy of like we feel like we all now recognize we're kind of being ruled by like people that are into children and people that traffic children and people that traffic weapons, and they're kind of wanting us to just like be like, oh, but like the new iPhone just dropped. Like this can't go on like this. Society cannot go on like this. If we have a society that we don't protect good people, like we don't protect decent human beings like Charlie Kirk, we don't protect our children, we're too fearful to even speak and say something, which is, I'm sorry, but we live in a world of remarkable cowardice because of what I view to be a shortage in testosterone. I find so many men to be pathetic. I really do. Like Charlie Kirk was assassinated in broad daylight and you're just going to like accept the Fed slap. I have no use for you. Like I have no use for you. We are losing the society because you're still allowed to walk around breathing is what the issue is. And you get to call yourself a man. Like, why am I taking all these bullets? Thank you to the men who have stood up for me. But like for the men that are just like going along to get a paycheck, like I don't need you ever on the airwaves ever again. I really don't. And if at the end of last year, between Jeffrey Epstein and Charlie Kirk, if something did not stir in your spirit and make you go, what the F is going on? We have no use for you in American society or any other society, frankly. And that's how I feel. So thank you to everybody who has jumped on and had this conversation. Again, I appreciate everyone. Harrison, I appreciate you. I think we do have different styles in this, and I hope that you at least hear my perspective and my heart in this. And no, I'm obviously not going to let Fort Huachuca go. My husband's on an MI6, and yeah, I don't care about Mitch's baby mamas. beyond that, we will, I'll be back. I'm off air all this week, and I'll be back next week. And I have even more explosive stories for you that we have found. We've tracked Tyler Robinson even more on that day. So it's just going to get crazier. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, we survived. I really hope I do not get in trouble for streaming that. But so many people don't have X. You guys were saying that you don't like all the toxic platforms. Totally understandable. So I fully understand that. So I'm gonna start off with reading the super chats really quick. I hope that a lot of us stay in here together because I want to kind of just quick talk about what was all talked about. Before I read the super chats, I'm just going to explain to you guys really quick who the speakers were because I think a lot of you guys who don't have X, obviously you're not really going to know who these people are. If Candace gets mad that we streamed this, I really hope not. But what I might do is I might not post the live. So if people were in the live, then you got to see it. And then I might break it up into smaller videos tomorrow and do like overviews. But I think it's important to share this information. And I think it stinks that it was just on X. And like we talked about, a lot of people don't use X. Okay. So Morgan Ariel, she, and I could even show you guys like her X page just so you guys can get an idea of who she is. She's on Instagram as well. She always posts all kinds of different stuff, political stuff about current events. She's someone that's supported Candace a ton. I just think at this time, I think that, with the Mitch thing, it really kind of shifted her a little bit. She just had questions. I really don't think she's coming from a bad place. But this is her. And she just does like a lot of culture talk, and her Instagram, she does a lot more like fashion stuff. If you guys have seen my interviews, I've interviewed Ryan Matta and Sam Parker. Sam Parker and I just did an interview probably like a week ago, and we talked a little bit about this case and Utah and his experience with running for the Senate in Utah. So he had some insight into that. Ryan Matta does great work. He has done a ton of documentaries on his own, exposing CPS and DCFS and crimes against children. There's 2 interviews with him on my channel. He does great work. I also, in my community page, if you scroll down, and I could repost this, he does, I do have a link for his recent documentary that he did that if you have children, you guys should all be watching about medical kidnapping and CPS corruption. The time to learn about that stuff is not once it's happened. It is to know ahead of time. So if you have kids, I strongly suggest that you look into that. Let's see. Tell us what is possible. What do you mean what is possible? So really quick, I'm just going to finish this. So Mel, Village Crazy Lady, Ian Carroll has shared a lot of her stuff. She does a lot of talking about obviously corrupt pastors and the FARA filing. She's kind of exposed all that stuff. Harrison from InfoWars, obviously with Alex Jones. Who else are we missing? I'm not really familiar with Myron, I think his name was, and Diligent. I do follow him. He's been posting a lot about the Charlie Kirk stuff. So that's kind of a rundown. Everybody's kind of like involved with that kind of stuff. So we'll just bring these up so that people can see the chat. Thank you so much for being here tonight, you guys. And I really appreciate that we all got to watch this together and we can kind of talk about stuff. So, how X works is majority of the time people don't even have video. And so what you see is the circles, it's just their profile pictures. And what they can do is called like an open mic. So people can request to be a speaker. So that's essentially what she did. She opened the floor and said, hey, I'm going to do this to address any questions about Mitch. You have the floor, request to be a speaker. And she let people ask questions, if that makes sense. So X just runs very different from any other platform. That's actually how I got to know Sam Parker and Ryan Matta and even got involved with them was the Charlie Kirk investigations that were happening on X that we were I'm sorry, I don't know what happened here. That we were talking about when Candace was on that 2-week break right after everything happened. They were Sam Parker and Ryan Matta and Morgan Ariel and all these people came together and actually held an hour discussion on X to keep talking about the Charlie Kirk case. So, do I have PayPal? Yeah, I do. It's oh gosh, I would have to look it up. I would have to post my PayPal. I don't even know what I'm under on there, honestly. I know most people do post that kind of stuff on here. I just never have. But let me see. I don't even know what I'm under. How bad is that, you guys? I'm so not with it. I'll get back to you. I'll talk. Let me look it up really quick for those that asked about PayPal. But so at least we got to go over those people that spoke. I don't know why Ian Carroll didn't speak. I was kind of sad that Ian Carroll didn't speak. I really thought he would. So I was kind of like sad about that. I'm glad he stepped in to sort of mediate because I think it was kind of getting out of control. But yeah, I think that Ian Carroll, I was surprised he didn't talk more, ask more questions. That was odd to me. Unlike him, I feel like. Harrison, I don't know. I think with Alex Jones coming out and obviously having the opinions about things, I think that changed a lot. So that was a big thing. Yeah, that was weird of Harrison. I don't think I've ever heard Harrison kind of push back like that, to be honest with you. I don't think it was scripted. I see people asking about scripted. I don't think that's true. But I mean, we never know. You never know. So it's all possible. And I think Candace hosting this says a lot. How many people do you know that would say, hey, if you have questions or you want to ask questions, like let's have a live and you can ask me whatever you want? I don't know anybody. Why didn't tpusa do that? So even if people don't like Candace, I mean, you have to respect. Yeah, I'm trying to look at my PayPal now. I'm going to type it in the chat because I think that that's the only way for me to do it. So that people know. For people asking. So it's in the chat now. It's nprez494. So essentially, I think that was brave of her. And she knows majority of the people coming there are opposing her or they have questions. They're not coming in to be like, hey, you're doing a great job, Candace. Like they're going to ask questions. My phone matches my pajamas. Yeah, kind of. This is cow print and my pajamas are leopard print. Wolves of Finance did a great video. I'm actually very worried about him. I know we talked about that earlier. I really think he's doing great work and he's exposing some big stuff and questioning a lot of big things, but it is scary. So, there's a lot there. I tried to take notes as we were doing this. I did think it was interesting that we found out that, there was no convictions or charges with Mitch. It was basically a lot of he said, she said. Doesn't make what happened right. Obviously, domestic violence is not okay, but, interesting. I think it was interesting to find out that he never, and I figured he did not, ask for money or for her to start a GoFundMe or something along those lines. So that was really interesting that, we found that out, right? To me, Mitch didn't seem like the type of person to be like, hey, I'll come on if you, give me money. I don't think that was expected. I think Candace has done that, even with the USS Liberty interview, she started a GoFundMe for the men from the USS Liberty. So that's just Candace's nature, in my opinion. Just my opinion. That doesn't mean anything. But I do think that Candace has a good heart. I do think she has good intentions with things. And, she doesn't have to start a GoFundMe. I truly think that she feels bad for people who go out of their way to do what's right and they have their life ruined. And it's sad that that's even a thing and we have to even go through that, you know. We shouldn't have to get on here like I do on, you know, my podcasts and come up with code words or, you know, say Philly instead of the country that we're talking about, like Coach Colin refers to them. We shouldn't have to do that. But censorship is alive and well. And I think that is why we see the pausing. I also think, you know, how many people were on there probably I'm sure it didn't help. But, you know, X was really meant supposedly to handle a lot of that. So I was really surprised that there was that much pausing. But actually, our stream didn't go down as much as other people. There was other people that actually came to my stream because they said that theirs wasn't working at all. So we got lucky and it wasn't even the cleanest. I did see people request that I do a follow-up video anyway because we didn't really get to hear Ian talk. So I will definitely try to break this up. So I'm not going to post this live right after. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to take it down and then I'm going to cut it up to where I'm putting commentary in there so that I don't know if you can get in trouble for that. I mean, it was only on X and people didn't have, I don't think Candace would care. I think for her, it's about getting the information out. But obviously it was requested and I just thought it was fun to do like a little watch party and talk about everything. So hopefully Candace won't kill a autoimmune housewife here. You know, I also think it was interesting that, you know, Candace said kind of what a lot of people have said, you know, what is the Me Too movement. You know, there were plenty of cases that you saw where women accuse men of doing things to them and then turning around and saying, oh, turns out like it's not true. So you have to vet everything. It's not to say you don't believe victims, but you still have to look into stuff because unfortunately, people do bad things and people ruin it for good people and so on and so forth. So I don't think that it's wrong to say we have to verify this. That's just my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, you know, you don't know, right? So yeah, I just think you never know. And it's kind of like one of those things where you're like better off just doing doing the investigation the right way. So we'll see what comes of it. Either way, bottom line is Brian Harpool and Erica, you know, have never stated where they were that day. We still don't have proof of those things. You know, they haven't even, like people said, came out and said, hey, you know, I did not I was not there, or I was there and we were having a meeting because Charlie was scared for his life. You know, we were being threatened. So we were there. We were there for a security meeting, right? There's been none of that. So it's, what are you left to think, you know? So they're really not helping their case by letting people stew. And I think that if you have the truth and the truth is on your side, you would have came out, you would have put it out there, it would have been over with. This all would have been done for. You know, it comes back to lawsuits. She's still not being sued for defamation, you know? So what do you do? It makes you wonder. So I keep getting this comment. You need to wipe, this might be, this is the same guy. You need to wipe your dresser down. It has makeup marks all over it. Trading Pennies, I think I'm just going to probably hide you from the channel because I had a house fire and this is not makeup, okay? It's not makeup. I don't do my makeup in my bedroom, okay? And if you don't like the way the background looks, maybe this isn't the channel for you. Or why don't you super chat me to buy new furniture? Anybody who comes on here who complains, I don't want to be rude, but at the same time, if you want to complain about something, the camera quality or this or that, feel free to super chat me. I will buy all the new equipment. No problem. Just saying. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys don't like anything about the quality of this and you guys want like professional grade, everything like straight out the gate, like feel free. Like send me $700. I will go get that badass camera. And I never swear really. So me saying that, I shouldn't have said that, but I'm just saying, If you don't like my dresser and it's not clean enough from you for my house fire, feel free to Venmo me and I will buy a new dresser. We will never see what looks like makeup on a dresser again. Most people wouldn't notice, but I'm just saying, sometimes you just, after someone writes the same comment all over all your videos and stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just funny to like roast them back. You know what I mean? Like, you obviously wanted attention. So here we go. Let's see. Somebody sent this lady $700. Yeah, I get all kinds of stuff and you just have to laugh. You're like, okay, lordy. You can't make everyone happy. You just have to laugh about it. I'm just joking though, guys. I was literally just joking. But like, if you're going to complain about anything, you know what I mean? Like, feel free to pay me the money. Sorry, I'm being goofy now. I might be slap happy at this point. I don't even care about the background anything either. I'm like, if you like somebody, you like somebody. You got to start somewhere, guys, right? You got to start somewhere. So, you got to start somewhere. You don't start at the top. That's for sure. And if it was easy, everyone would do it. So, anywho, so let's get back on track. So the Me Too movement stuff, I think that she brought, up a good point. We just have to validate everything and we have to make sure what's true. And aside from that, this isn't even a part of the case at the end of the day. She's like, I don't want to be involved in their marriage. It's not that she don't care about domestic violence, but it has nothing to do with what's going on. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like I'm with her. Like, not to be rude about his ex-wife, but we weren't there. We'll probably never super know the truth. And it has nothing to do with what happened on the base that day or at the hotel that day or whatever he saw. Either he saw it or he didn't. And until we have proof it was one or the other, I have no skin in that game. You know what I mean? And Candace don't either. It doesn't take away from what we're trying to get the answers to. So Candace is right about that. This is a very easy debunk. Like I said, they could have shut this down a long time ago. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I still think they're going to probably try to ignore, because I think if you ignore it, then it's like it never happened and they just think it's going to go away. But we'll see. So let's see. Most confidential informants have this, let's see. CD posts in the courts and agencies use their testimony. Exactly. I talked about this earlier. I said, you know how many criminals or jailhouse informants? You know what I mean? It happens all the time. All the time. Does not take away the fact that if they saw something or witnessed something or were told something. So, oh my gosh, the Minnesota fraud. I was going to talk about that in the live earlier, but then we got off so we could do this. I'll do a video on that tomorrow. I'm going to have to do a lot of filming tomorrow. I got way behind today. But who knew? Who knew that this was going to come about? So, but the Minnesota fraud, that Nick is his name. He did good work. Good for him. Good for him. Yeah, Ian did go. I think Ian tries, and rightfully so. I mean, who wants extra drama in their life? It's good to just stay out of stuff if you can. I think a lot of people try to. You know what I mean? Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Someone asked me where my furniture was from. I refurbished my furniture. So my dad taught me how to do this. The dresser didn't look anything like that. None of them did. I put new hardware on. I sanded them down. I painted them myself. This door, I actually put wood on to like make the fluting. So I did all that for the first time. So my furniture is, it's store bought, but I did the paint color on my furniture is tricorn black. It's matte tricorn black. But I forgot to tell you, you can't buy this furniture because I refurbished it. So thank you. So yeah. It looked nicer obviously before the house fire. I probably have to touch it up, or I probably will replace the nightstands and the dressers and stuff just because of everything it's been through. But one day at a time. There's too many things to do. So, but my dad could build and make anything. So I called him one day and I said, what do I need to do? And you guys, I redid that furniture like 3 times because I tried to cut corners and like, do it all fast and like think, oh, I don't have to fully sand it down. Well, guess what? Then you have to do it 3 times to do it properly. So just do it right the first time and have patience. Ask my husband. He was ready to choke me when I decided to try to cut corners and save time. And then it costs you more time in the long run. So it's funny. It really was comical. And it's backbreaking, but it's rewarding. I've enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm going to read these super chats that people sent in. That was super nice. I said in the beginning, I know some people were not thrilled. They were like, oh, you set a goal. And I was like, I was just playing with this. I didn't know what this was. And I was like, oh, well, I'll just hit it and see what happens. And I've never been in the chat. When I'm live, I'm live. And so I don't really get to be in the chat with you guys. So I was like trying to play around with things and figure out how to respond to people. I couldn't even figure out how to like people's comments. I was trying to play with stuff and listen. So I appreciate, I said nobody had to donate anything or, super chat or anything. It's just appreciated. It helps obviously everything get better and grow. So I'm going to put my glasses on for this because it's getting late. So Nina sent $4.99 or $5 for the super sticker. Thank you so much, Nina. That was super, super kind of you. Advanced Conspiracy Theory. I like that name. Thanks for broadcasting this. No problem. I'm praying on everything. I don't get in trouble for this. Simply Simple. Thank you so much. Thanks for the live. Would have 100% missed it otherwise. Oh, girl, I think we all would have missed it. Honestly, because I didn't even realize it was on X till my husband said something. Is it Emil? Yeah, Emil Castro. Thank you for the membership. Mohammed, thank you for the membership. Made from Dust too. Thank you so much for the super chat. You're so sweet. Patty Cakes, that's a cute one. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you again for another super sticker. Elizabeth Peterson, thanks for running this for us tonight. I really had troubles trying to listen on X. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I've heard that so much tonight. I don't know why mine stayed up more than other people's, but a lot of people said that they had to leave X and come to our live because I guess mine was running better than theirs. And I feel like we got kicked out a lot. The Sun 7, thank you for the super sticker. Sinbad, thank you. Patriotic Housewife, thank you. Dog Nose, thank you so much. Thanks, Wolf. That's funny. All the doggies. I love dogs. If I ever won the lotto, you guys would know. I would have a bazillion dogs. Thank you. Let's see. Trading Pennies. Thank you, Patriotic Housewife, for this discussion to us. Wish you the success on your podcast in the future. Thank you. I will be using that towards dressers. Just kidding. I'm just making fun. Let's see. We have Mr. Blanco. The tunnels at the base make it an easy way to exit the country. If Charlie faked his death, that would force the government to explain why they're manipulating people politically through their faith. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, so I was under the impression that the one that Ian Carroll caught on the camera when he was there was basically like a maintenance room. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. You never know. That was something that a lot of people talked about. Bears on G, thank you so much for sharing the live. I don't have X. This was awesome. No problem. I'm glad that I was able to pull it up and we were able to make it through. Mike, thank you so much for the super sticker. Miriam, am I one of the few people who just wants to know who Mitch saw and doesn't care about his personal life? Why are they bringing up baby mamas? Miriam, I am with you. You are not alone. You are not crazy. We need to stay focused on the task at hand. That is not our business. It's handled in court and with the police. There's nothing we can do about that. It does not change the facts of if he was there or not. Curveball, Alex Jones sounds like a hostage. Thank you so much for the super chat. I cannot believe Alex Jones decided to flip like that. That threw me through a loop. But you guys noticed that Alex Jones, for those of you guys that watch InfoWars, he always complained about, oh, my show's going to end tomorrow. My show's not going to be on tomorrow anymore. This or this is going to happen. And the next thing you know, he stopped complaining about money. I don't know. I at least I haven't heard him complain about his show getting taken off the air and money in a long time. Well, weeks and months. Gregory, thank you so much for the new membership. Ginger, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Dog Nose again for Mary Jaynard. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. You guys are so kind. I always appreciate all of that. I love being here with you guys. I love creating content. I'm so excited for the future as I continue to learn and get better too. Fuzzballs. Alex Jones says Candace is an agent, but what debunks this is that she would have never been allowed to expose First Lady of France as a biological male. Yeah, I think with that whole situation, that was a big one too. I mean, I think a lot of people already kind of knew that, but yeah, when you start calling out the president of France's spouse, that was a bit much, and these are powerful people, and I don't know. I mean, Candace has guts, that's for sure. She definitely stands in her truth. She's brave. And to take on people like she did tonight, I mean, that says everything, in my opinion. She's not cowering. She's not hiding. Wolves of Finance analyzing the nonprofit Trigger Smart Vids. There's too many things that do not add up, period. Nina, you're right. I've said even if we take away what happened to Charlie, explain the money. Explain the money. You know? It's still no bueno. Bummer to have lost AJ like that. Totally unhinged and weird. Yeah, I was really bummed. I mean, he's been exposing things for a long time. So for him to come out and call people a conspiracy theorist was like, I was like, am I living in the Twilight Zone? Did Alex Jones just call people conspiracy theorists? I'm like, oh man. Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones are now both paid shills. Yeah, Nick Fuentes is I actually think he's funny in certain things he says is funny. But he's really outdone himself these days against Candace. That's for sure. Especially earlier when I was in my live earlier, him and Candace were going at it on X all day long, back and forth. It was like a ping pong match. You guys should have seen it. Oh, if you watched my live from earlier, I did. I showed it. Steph, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that so much. Jones destroyed himself. Yeah, I don't know that he's coming back from that. But think about it. Am I wrong? Has he talked about like losing his studio or anything anymore? He hasn't. And he was getting sued out the wazoo. I hope AJ apologized to redeem himself. I don't know that he will. I really don't. I think Alex Jones right now reminds me of somebody who wanted to break the case. Like he's used to being the one who comes first with the information, or he's right? He's been found to be right on a lot of things. So I almost think it's like an ego thing, an ego kick to him that Candace is bringing truth forward and talking about things, and he's not the one bringing it to the forefront and leading the charge. And I think he's not a fan of it. Well, I mean, we're here for truth. It really doesn't matter who's first to say what or do what. This is all about doing what's right. So that's what it looks like to me a little bit. That's how it comes across anyway. And I actually was gonna go over this on the live earlier before we got off, but there's a video. I'm just gonna do a video on it. But Alex Jones went from years ago wanting to hire Candace Owens. He was interviewing her on his show, wanted to hire her, and then now he's calling her a lunatic, that she needs mental help, and I'm worried about you. And it's like, man, has the goalpost completely shifted here? Right? It's just wild to watch. It really is. And that's what I'm saying. It's sad when you start to watch like what you felt like truth tellers are going against each other, instead of, imagine how powerful a movement would be if everyone came together. If instead of trying to discredit Mitch, we put all that energy into figuring out where Brian Harpool and Erica were. You follow what I'm saying? Why aren't we doing that? all the effort and the energy that everyone has put into about fighting over Mitch, we could have had this case solved probably. My opinion. I don't know for sure. I mean, this is quite the situation. I think there was a lot of distractions and intentional, but we probably could have been further along than what we are now. Patty still think he owes money that tpusa is paying in exchange to go against Candace. I don't know, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't say it's super far-fetched, Patty. I really wouldn't. Nothing would surprise me anymore. Nothing surprises me anymore. I mean, that might have been, I don't think anyone really saw that particularly coming from him. So you never know. It's all possible. At this point, I'm like Sam Parker. I'm like, I'm not married to any certain situation per se. I'm open-minded about it all. I think anything's possible when you got corrupt people and you got a lot of money. You never know. And so it's just about keeping your ears open and your eyes open and paying attention. And little slip ups. Like I was going through old, all these interviews from Erica Kirk's little tour she did, and I started to really listen to certain things. And I'm like, well, this is weird. Or you start to pick up if you go back and you realize that when you're trying to watch all these interviews, especially me, I'm trying to create content. So I only have so many hours in a day to watch so many different things and, and then research in the background for things that maybe, you know what I mean? Like haven't surfaced yet, type stuff. So you're trying to put stuff together in the background that maybe hopefully you'll be the first one to come out with and bring something to light. And that's always fun to like expose something that hasn't been talked about yet. And you put your hard work into that and you build that in the background. And then you do, you cover some of these other stories that, we're all sharing information. And that's, it all needs to happen. It all works together. But yeah, I think that we all should have put that effort into figuring out what's actually going on instead of fighting someone on your own team, essentially. At the end of the day, Alex Jones believes that Charlie Kirk was not killed by Tyler Robinson. So what are we even doing? It's just weird. Alex Jones is not reading the room and he is missing that people lost complete trust in our own political party. And maybe this is the intention of we the people need to stand together. There's more of us than them. And I think it's about giving the power back to the people. It's not about any one person holding power. You follow what I'm saying? It's about everyone as a whole coming together and doing what's right and fighting for what's right. That's my personal opinion. There's power in numbers. And so I just think we should be focusing on that kind of stuff. All this fighting is just, it's just adding, they love this. They're probably sitting there laughing that, people are, eating each other alive that are on the same side. Debbie, thank you for the super chat. Love your content. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I'm going to try. I'm trying. So, we'll have to see. I had a feeling Candace wasn't going to come back until January. So here we are. She will be back. I think she said, January 5th. So I don't really think she was going to do this tonight either. I just think she happened to do it to address some of this stuff because people were getting crazy on X. This Mitch thing really rocked the boat big time. I think between the planes and Mitch, it's sent people over the edge. It's turned it into a absolute chaotic mess. Mike, Ryan Matta did a video with Jimmy Dore showed on the bounty system used on influencers to post narratives. Yes, Ryan Matta is awesome. He's really, really kind. I did an interview with him. And then he was like, oh, do you want to do a part 2 tomorrow? And so we did a part 2 and we just talked about all kinds of stuff. We talked about his documentary exposing CPS and that corruption. And we talked about, the FBI and just, we talked about everything. We could have talked for hours. We did talk for hours. Just talking about all kinds of different problems and things going on. And, we definitely have similar views on how things are going and how we feel things, we should work together and all that stuff. Let's see. Alex Tones has been paid off. Yeah, you never know. Allegedly, I guess. I don't know. Ben Shapiro is a coward and a liar. Ben Shapiro is a joke. Ringleader of the circus. That was a great show. Thank you, Jonathan. Parker quality control. Tyler 100% did this. It's absurd. Or Tyler 100% did this is absurd. Yeah. Even if he was involved, he didn't do it by himself. He may be involved, but he did not act by himself. There's no way. Let's see. Fuzzy Balls. The last month has made me realize Ben Shapiro, Eric Kirk, and Alex Jones are on the same team, as well as Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. It's all about, we're just going to say Philly, and keeping us gaslit in endless war. We're just going to have to keep seeing things play out. I just think we're just going to have to, like I tell everybody, just pray about it. That's all you can do. Just keep praying. Literally, just keep praying. It's the only thing we can do. God is in charge. It's at his will. We don't have a say. And so all you can do is put your best foot forward, be the best version of you that you can. Try to be kind. Please. I wish everyone would just try to be a little kinder right now. The world is a mess. And we don't need to be, eating each other alive. And pray about it. And just, live your life. Let's see. Mr. Blanco, why are they withholding the metadata from the suspect on the proof, or I'm sorry, on the roof jumping off the building? It doesn't match up to the crowd that was rushing out from the venue according to the cell videos. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know why they're not releasing things. I also think it's strange that we had 4K video of this kid, taking the shot. You saw the staircase. Why was there no one guarding the staircase? If it was easily accessed, there was no locked door. Why did everyone have access to getting up there? Because once you walk up those stairs, it's the fence is like what, 4 feet tall? I mean, you can hop right over it. There was a ton of cameras right there. So why did we get the grainiest footage to identify Tyler Robinson? Why? Also, how many of you that are parents in the chat are going to go by that grainy photo to be like, yep, that's my kid? Probably not many of you. You better give me, if I had kids, you better give me a clear photo. It better be very clear that that's my kid. You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't it. And there's so many parts of that. Jesse on Fire did a really good video with ear forensics in how Tyler Robinson's ears don't match the ears and even certain parts of the chin. And there's just things that don't line up. What is the one kid's name? Phil Lyman's was his nephew's friend? It kind of looks like him. I can't think of his name right now for the life of me. But it kind of looks more like him, in my opinion. Allegedly. They look similar, Who knows? With that grainy footage, who could be sure? Let's see. Everyone knows that photo did not resemble Tyler. Yeah, there was a lot of things that did not, I don't know. The prosecution is choosing his lawyer. There's so many bizarre things. The whole order of how this goes, like I said, if we had any kind of admission of guilt. Let's talk about Brian Koberger case. Let's take it back there. He admitted he was guilty. They have an arraignment. You enter your plea. Guilty or not guilty. Geez. It's 11 o'clock, guys. My brain cells are just gone from listening to that conversation that we just listened to. After that, if you plead guilty, they don't waste tax dollars. They don't have a trial. Do you know how much? Everyone knows how much a trial costs. They're very, very, very expensive. Okay. And so why would we have a trial if he's already admitting guilt? We have not seen him admit guilt in a courtroom. There's no written confession. The police lost the footage of him turning himself in, probably because it doesn't even exist, in my opinion. A secure building like that loses the footage and has no idea where it went. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. So we don't have an arraignment where, he pleads in. Then after that, you would have a sentencing hearing. There would be no reason to have a trial and go through all this because he already admitted guilt. He told you what he did. That's it. End of story. We don't have that. We don't have any of that. That doesn't concern anybody. Then you have the prosecution is tainted with a conflict of interest. They get to pick his defense. What is even happening before our eyes? And people that aren't really concerned with this, I'm like, well, you better be concerned because it's him today, but it could be you or one of your kids tomorrow. We don't know. Look at Karen Reed. Look at how many innocent people die on death row. The time to be concerned isn't once you're in the bad situation, guys. The time to be concerned is when things like this happen to someone else and you stop it then. You follow what I'm saying? The time to be educated about things is not when you're starting to go through them and you're like, oh my gosh, and now you're rushing to try to save yourself. I say that with like the best intentions, Mr. Blanco, but you can see the crowd rushing out the building on the video where he jumps from the... I got to go back and watch the footage because I just feel like there's so much footage. Thank you for the super chat again. I just think there's so much footage. I can't even... Oh, are you talking about the balcony? Where Phil Lyman came out? That's not the same building. Yeah, I see a lot of people in the chat about Lyman's. Yeah, it's weird, right? Like Phil Lyman, his nephew, or... It was weird. It was really weird. Really, really weird. Sorry, guys, I'm scrolling down through the chat. Wolves and Finances is doing a great job, and I think there's no better person to talk about the finances than somebody who is an accountant. I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that just because I wouldn't want to tell you guys the wrong thing. That is not my area of expertise. Larry Bradshaw, thank you for the super chat. We the people have to unite now. It's not about right or left. If we don't come together, we lose this country. I agree. I think it's about, like I said, coming together. You're stronger in numbers, and this is not a time to be insulting people and tearing people down. And and when you're doing that, by the way, if you're trying to get someone to come to your side, they're not. When you're insulting them and swearing and yelling, no one's listening to you anymore. You're definitely not going to win anybody over. As soon as you start insulting me, I just hit the block button. I think the block button is great. I'm so glad that God invented the block button because no one's worth my peace of mind. So anybody who thinks that they're getting away with that, I'm just like, well, block, it's over. So, it's the same concept with everything. I just think everyone needs to breathe and be kind. And it's sad too because we're adults. I'm 36 years old. I shouldn't have to be told how to treat people. But you have people, you know what I mean, that are raising young kids. What example is that? Like I said, I'm not perfect, but I'm just saying, you should be a good example for your children. You don't like somebody, say hi, keep it moving. There's no reason to go out of your way to acknowledge somebody that you know what I mean, you don't care for or whatever. Why hasn't Erica, Curveball, thank you so much for the super chat. Why hasn't Erica released the autopsy results? Charlie was open and honest. Erica's secretive and misinforming. Well, you hit the nail on the head there. Well, so I think some states, if I remember right, some states, I think autopsy results are public record, and then some states they're allowed to be kept private, I think. And I think with Utah, you don't, it's not public, I believe. But I agree with you. I mean, in any other case, I mean, you think about, like I said, go back to Idaho 4. They told you what the cause of death was, and from the autopsy results in the news about those kids. Why is this any different? I don't know. I don't believe in idolizing people. I believe that we're all people. We all go in the ground the same way. We all eat the same way. It's fine to like somebody and support somebody, but to worship anybody is wrong. So I don't know why we're doing all these special circumstances here. I think the people deserve answers. Definitely when it comes to the money, because people have given their money. They're getting tax exempt, so they do need to answer for audits. Let's see. Fuzzball, when Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, for they not know what they do," it was for the Romans because they didn't know God. It wasn't for the religious leaders who did. If you know God, live in eternally. Yes. Let's see. Tyler Robinson's attorneys are sus too. Brandy and Billy have a good show sharing some info. I got to check them out. Someone else just told me about them. It's the second time I've heard about them in like a week. I've got to check it out. Terrell Farnsworth also said they killed him. Yeah, him and his selfie video is bizarre. Like, bizarre. Like, who in that situation would ever think, like, I better take a video of myself real quick? I probably would have lost my phone, to be honest with you. I surely wouldn't have walked away. I would have, listen, I'm from the south side of Chicago. You hear a gunshot, you run. Run. I would have been like Blake Neff. I would have been out of there. So, thank you, first timer here. Appreciate your real and honest voice from little old New Zealand. Oh, thank you so much, Amanda. That's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the channel, and thank you for being here. The channel is nothing without you guys, so I appreciate all of you. Miriam, thank you for the super chat. AJ Studio was being foreclosed on, but not anymore. Right. So so he was losing it. I don't know if the foreclosure stopped, but remember how he kept saying, "Oh, any day now, the courts are going to come and take it." And then it's just like he stopped talking about it. So I mean, he went from talking about it constantly, and then all of a sudden we're not talking about it. So I just think that's weird. I don't know if they actually aren't foreclosing on it anymore. That's actually a good question. That would be interesting to look into, actually. Utah allows it to be kept private. So yeah. Thank you, Jason. I thought that's what it was. I do know that some states you have to request for it to be sealed. But there's a good amount of states where it's public record. But like I said, where's the transparency? I don't know. And there is an autopsy. There was one done. So I don't know. I mean, the only reason you wouldn't want it to be released has nothing to do with privacy. You're a public figure. I don't think you get to live the life of a semi-celebrity status and then request privacy whenever you want it. It's kind of like you step into that role and you know what comes with it. And Erica Kirk has, really put herself out there. So her saying like she's demanding privacy now when she literally could not stay off the internet and was, just doing the most in the very beginning with certain disturbing photos and certain things. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I want my privacy. Well, ma'am, like you've taken a lot of people's money and you've made yourself, a public spectacle. So it's like putting toothpaste back in the tube, as they say. Like once it's done, it's done. When you got pyrotechnics when you're walking out everywhere, I mean, it looks like you like the attention to me. You don't look like you want privacy there. So I don't know why it's privacy at convenience, just like the gag order is convenient. We're going to go on all these shows and we're going to do all these interviews. But when we get questioned about something we don't like, the gag order, we're gagged. We can't talk about it. It's the most convenient gag order I've ever seen in my life. Truly. It's crazy. You are very mature for your young age and wise. Thank you. I've been through a lot in my 36 years. I will tell you guys. And one day I will do a podcast of all the crazy things that have happened to me, because I could probably write a book. No joke. It's really, really, really bizarre. And when you have a lot of things happen to you, you mature at a younger age. And I don't know. I'm grateful for that. I would rather be kind of like an old soul or, calm in that way. I mean, I wasn't appreciative of those moments when they're happening, but I've gotten better with dealing with stuff. I've also done a lot of praying on it, and I've asked God to take anger from me and sadness and worrying, and he's done that. So if you guys ever feel that way, just pray on it. Go to church. Every time I leave church, I leave there so motivated and inspired. I just want to go out and do so much good. I can't even take it. Like, I'm like a child. I just want to go out there and do something nice. So, yes, in Utah, autopsy reports are generally confidential and not public record, primarily accessible only to the next of kin, legal representatives, medical providers, or law enforcement. Yeah, I think Florida, I think it's public record, I think. I'd have to look it up. I think it is, though. Pretty sure. Why did Erica stop the audit Charlie started into tpusa finances? That is a great question. We are doing nothing that Charlie wanted. Asking questions is wrong. The very thing he built his legacy on, which is speaking truth, asking questions, it's the only thing that keeps us free. Open dialogue. All that's wrong. No Doge audit. We're not moving at all like Charlie. The video I'm going to post, I'll probably post it tonight so I don't have to get up early in the morning or schedule it. But I'm going to go into that in my video that I'm going to post next about some questions I have about why we're really not doing stuff that Charlie wanted. So, yeah, I have a lot of questions about that too. Everyone puts their drawers on the same way, one leg at a time. Yep. Thank you, Carol. They know that if the autopsy is released, we'll analyze and question it. Well, we're analyzing and questioning it anyway, Alina. You know what I mean? Regardless, it's bad. It's just, it might be worse by not. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know. Can it get any worse, you guys? I don't even know anymore. Every day you think it can't get any more weird, any more absurd, any more disgusting, and it does. It's just like you wake up and you're like, of course, I used to live in Chicago, Pine Grove, and Waveland. Go Cubbies. You're a Cubs fan. I'm a Southside Italian. So I'm a White Sox fan, even though the White Sox have been awful. Awful. I don't know what happened to us. Let's see. Morgan sounded very ignorant. I was really surprised a little bit by her tonight, but I was really surprised by her post earlier where she was, having all these different questions about, Mitch. Mitch really rubbed Morgan the wrong way. It was really, really, really crazy. I just think Mitch, I do understand people being skeptical, but at the end of the day, like, we need to be realistic here. And we need to not lose the plot. And I feel like all this arguing and stuff, people have lost the plot. Like, just stay focused type thing. Nate has nothing against Candace, and he was a real Green Beret, and he has access to a lot of sources in the military. I totally understand. I think I like Valhalla VFT. I do think his yelling and swearing, and when he gets really riled up, I can't watch that. I don't like that. I don't think it's what you say. I think it's how you say it, and I think it's how you carry yourself. And I think the delivery being awful does not help the situation. But I do think he does have obviously plenty of expertise. He's smart. I thank him for his service. My husband's prior military as well. My husband did 8 years in the Army. He was overseas. So I'm very thankful to anyone who has served this country. I would never have the guts to do it. So they're the reason we get to sit here and do what we're doing right now in peace. So I support him, but I just think when you're trying to get through to people and you're trying to reason with people, there's a way to go about it. And the one night that I was in his chat, people were trying, it was when this whole Mitch thing came about, and there was something about the Navy. People were trying to explain him something with the Navy. And instead of just looking it up, because on the website, it actually did, show like what people were saying. And he was like, nope, I was in the military. I know everything. I was in the military. I can't believe you guys are questioning me. And I thought that was, not right. Like, why can't you just do what I do and get on the live and search and just see? I mean, you never know. None of us know everything. Regardless, I worked in medical sales for years. I don't know everything. Things are changing all the time. You don't know every single person in the army. You don't know every single person in the medical field. You know what I mean? Like, people can be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. I don't know when it became a crime to get something wrong. No one's made a mistake in their life. It's like everyone is just acting like they're just perfect. None of us are. So I don't really understand all this behavior of like no one's made a mistake and come back from it, or I don't know. If we all were not allowed to turn our lives around, can you imagine? We'd all be in trouble. At Patriarch Housewife, it almost seems that the only thing that would make sense or any sense of this is if Charlie actually wasn't dead and it was all a psyop. Yeah, I mean, it would make things make a lot of sense. I just don't think Charlie Kirk would traumatize that many people. I really don't. I mean, he was a Christian. I just don't think he would do that. I would be shocked if he did that. That's my personal belief, but like I said, anything's possible. I mean, I am not above knowing, I mean, what is actually going on. I'm with you guys. I'm just trying to figure it out for myself, But yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking questions. There's nothing wrong with having, experience and having knowledge and using that knowledge. But I just think a lot of us need to realize that we don't have all the answers and it's okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person who doesn't care about having all the answers. I am extremely disappointed at Ian Carroll. His silence is loud and clear. I just think there's a lot of people, especially me being new to, streaming and YouTube, people don't want to put their nose in other people's beef. They just don't want to be involved. I'm the opposite. When I first got on here, I got into, an argument with Baron Coleman, which that was a whole nightmare. I'm not going to go into the details. It was just ridiculous. And nobody had my back. And then when Baron got into a fight with Alley Files, I stuck up for her. And then, you know what I mean? So, and put myself under the bus a little bit and made my life a little harder because I'm the type of person where I'm not going to stand there and watch someone get beat up and just stand there and watch. To me, that's not right. That's just what my heart is. But I think a lot of people just don't want to sink their ship. You know what I mean? Like, so by staying out of it, it's like, whatever. It doesn't make it right or wrong. You know what I mean? I think Ian Carroll is so smart. He's really inspiring for people to go out there and do their own research and think for yourself. And I think he has a lot of good messages. And I watch Ian. I started watching Ian before I even started my own podcast. And yeah, I just think he, who wants to take on any extra stress? We already have our own stress. And sometimes it's just, I think people think, oh, well, they'll get through it or they'll get over it. And so they just stay out of it. It's not wrong. I mean, everyone has their way of dealing with stuff. I apparently like to get involved and try to do the right thing and then make myself have a bigger headache. But that's just how my heart is, doesn't make it right or wrong. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. Personal, I guess. Valhalla may not be perfect, but he is one of the good guys. Yeah, I think he has good intentions for sure. And I don't think that what people did with his wife and him the other day was right. This is what I'm talking about. His poor wife, she's a mother. They have children. Their children are going to see that. And on top of it, the girl was a bartender. I just am like, I was wowed by the internet the other day. I had to take a break. I was like, people need to touch grass, hug a loved one, tell someone you love them, go read a book. What are we doing? She didn't ask for this. If you're mad at something he said on his stream, deal with him. It was not right. I did not like that. I got off the internet that day. I couldn't take that. That was horrible. Bad behavior. Let's see. Yeah, the pizza tattoo in the inner lip is wild. That's on his Instagram, by the way. Thank you for doing the stream. Absolutely no problem. Blake's breakdown videos of those security guards on that day is the best I've seen. More attention needs to be on that. Yeah, I did watch his breakdown, and he did have a great breakdown. And it's awesome that he had that footage and he's been able to hold on to it and keep the originals. And that's awesome. 36 is one of the best ages. Is la la la, guys. I can't even talk. Ages as a woman, in my opinion, you have your health and wisdom. Yeah, I think your late 30s is you're really comfortable with who you are. You know, you start to not really care what people think. You start to relax a little bit and just really start to like enjoy yourself more. Whereas I think in your 20s, you care what other people think. It's all about how many friends you have. Now I'm like a small circle, and my family is all I need. Just my family, to be honest. Ian and Morgan equals disappointment. I mean, people aren't going to always do what you want them to do. I mean, like I said, we all react different to things. It doesn't make it wrong or right. We're all different. Adversity brings you closer to God because it's the one thing you always have. Exactly. And that's why I think we need to stop worrying about people and we need to put our faith in God and pray about it. It's the only way through any of this. It's the only way through anything. It's the only way. Thank you for sharing this for those of us who don't have X. Absolutely. I don't blame you guys for not having X. I wouldn't have it either. If it wasn't for this podcast, I wouldn't have it. X is very, very toxic. So, has she remarried already? Geez, what's taking her so long? That's funny. Character assassins like Valhalla has got their list. Attitude of gratitude. Yes. Always be grateful. There's always someone who has it worse than you. I could tell you that. Interesting. You and Erica are the same age and look at the maturity and dignity difference. Yeah, I just think life experiences, change people, not to get too personal, but just to give you guys like an outlook. When I was in high school, I dated a guy who he was born with cancer. So he only had one eye that he could see out of. And when we were dating in high school, he went totally blind, and he ended up passing away when I was 27. He was my best friend until then. And so at 13 years old, it's an eye opener when you see someone, young like you go from being healthy and being in sports to their whole life is turned around, and you watch them be sick. And that was why I went into medicine to begin with. And so those kinds of things, they shape you, they change you. And I think experiencing certain things at a young age changed me and matured me in ways that, someone at that age wouldn't be. I'm 36. I got diagnosed with lupus and fibromyalgia at 32. 3 days later, my grandpa died. I lost my job because of my lupus and fibromyalgia. A year later from that day, almost literally like 3 days off of that, my grandma that I took care of passed away. And then 5 months later, my dad passed away suddenly of a heart attack. No underlying health issues. And 5 months after that, well, no, he died in August, September, October, November, December. 5 months later, I had a house fire. That's been the last 2 years. This podcast has been the most positive thing that's happened to me in a long time. And I prayed for God to give me my purpose, tell me what my purpose was. And he spoke to me and told me to start a podcast. I'm not joking. I know I sound crazy, and here I am. And we're just winging it. So I'm living proof that you can get through anything. You could go through, it was the worst couple years of my life, you guys. I didn't even know how I was going to be alive. I was like, there's no way I'm going to live through this. I'm telling you. And I had begged and pleaded with God. I was angry. I was confused, impatient, all the things. And I will tell you that the only way through it is through him, and it's the only way I've made it. It's the only reason I'm sitting here talking to you. And my story's a testimony to that. It's the only reason. It's the only reason I'm anything that I am. And the sooner you realize that and you start to be obedient and patient and really put your faith where it needs to be, things change. But he'll bring you to rock bottom to show you he's the rock at the bottom, is the saying. And you can either tough it out and pretend like you can solve all your problems, but when you can't, or you can submit. And I fought for a long time. I thought I knew everything. Oh, I could fix this. I can fix this, and I can't. So, been there, done that. Patriarch Housewife, did you erase a video of you crying about info source? Yes, I didn't erase it. I was actually, Baron asked me to private that. So I did. And we're not going to go into that because we have moved on. Baron knows that what he did that day was not accurate. We'll just leave it at that. New follower here, Go Max AF. New follower here, what's your background? You say everything I'm thinking, laugh out loud, appreciate you. Also, you sound like you're from the north. I am. I'm from Chicago. Definitely from the north. Still have the Midwest accent. So I'm Italian and Polish from up north. So that's where I'm originally from. I think Morgan let someone in her ear. I think Evan freaked some people out. I think Mitch is Pascot people. Yeah, the Pascot people. Evan does have some good posts on X, and I don't know. Maybe he did, but I think that, having questions was fair. I don't think Candace was offended at the questioning. I'm sure it's not how she wanted to spend an hour and a half of her time or how long we were watching that. Our job to is observe, God will judge. Yep. Let's see. Ian has a lot going on. He's making a Charlie Kirk database, his new app. I actually respect him for wanting to not to get caught up in the back and forth drama. I understand. That's why I said I don't blame people for staying out of things. Who wants to spend time arguing, you guys? It's tiring. Being angry is tiring. Being mean is tiring. It's all draining. I got enough going on, I don't want to be any of those things. So thank you for hosting Patriotic Housewife. This live, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys watching, and I appreciate all of you guys sticking in here and talking with me. It's always nice to be able to get to know people and see all the regulars and talk with everybody, get everyone else's feedback. Now I'm watching Love Live here. Yes. I am going to pull that live down, guys, just so you know. So don't panic. And I'm going to break it up into bits because I really don't know how that's going to go over that I streamed that live. But a lot of people didn't have X. They requested it. I did it. I really don't think Candace Owens is going to care, but the transparency is important. And so for people that don't want to go on X for their mental health, I totally understood that. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just watch it together and then we can have a little talk afterwards and talk about everything that went on and see what we all think of what was said. And I think it was good. But I am going to pull it down and then break it up into smaller videos and go over some things because I don't know. Like I said, this is all about sharing information. I don't think Candace would care, but I also don't need any trouble either. So I don't think Nate got paid. I don't think he did either. I don't know why people even assume that. We might not be right, but we ain't wrong. Right. We may never know the truth, to be honest with you guys. I mean, that's a possibility. It's a large possibility. But that doesn't mean, and what I try to tell people too is like, people are very tied up in, well, what if we never, the FBI never does anything? Well, the wrath of God is the worst punishment. Okay. There's nothing worse than that. He sees and knows all. And so we may not get the justice here, but it will come later, and everyone's going to have to answer for what they did. And so we can't get tied up either. Charlie I don't think he would want us to get caught up in that. I think he would want us to, be good people, do what was right, stand up for, the Constitution, stand up for ourselves, and fight for, the First Amendment and fight for truth. But I don't, we can't bring Charlie back, unfortunately. So there's got to be a good way going forward in this, and it's just one of those things, we can't take it back. It's unfortunate, but I think he would want us to do better. Okay, Fuzzball. I have been rock bottom other than my sister. God has been the one thing that has always been there. Thank you, Jesus. Repentance is the greatest gift. It really is. It's the most freeing thing in the world. It really is. Thanks for streaming this Patriarch Housewife, even though it was frustrating. Sorry, Jerome. Yes, no problem. It was. It kept freezing, but I'm glad that we were able to make it, because it didn't look like we were going to make it, really, to be honest, for a while there. Repent means to change mind. We have becoming guilted and shamed into asking questions. Give me a break. Yeah, I mean, it's all intentional. Like the term conspiracy theorist was invented during the JFK assassination. For anybody who asks questions about that, the term was meant to essentially insinuate you're crazy. So I take it as a compliment. I'm like, okay, well, I don't let anyone tell me what to think. Not Candace Owens, not nobody. I just get the information and I make my own assumptions off of what my eyes see. So I don't think anyone should listen to me, Candace, nobody. Take in the information, make your own decisions, make your own assessments. Allie is doing so good since you spoke up for her. Oh, yes, Kay. I love Allie. I think Allie is super sweet. And I don't know. I'm one of those people. I always try to stand up for people when I know they're in the right and they're good people. And I don't know. I hate a bully. I know that. And and then worse than a bully is a liar. I hate liars. I don't do well with liars. Nothing. Ask my husband how crazy I go if I find out someone's lied. I go ballistic. Gary must be waking up at 3:30 a.m. Can't get back to sleep. Oh man, he really. I mean, talk about hitching your wagon to. I can't believe he did that, but he's doubling down with tpusa. And I don't know. I'm curious. We should look at what his account is at. I'm curious what his what his channel's at now. I'm sure he's lost plenty of subscribers from all that. Ian Carroll's the best. So glad I found his channel. Love Ian Carroll. Yes, he always has good information. And I like when he does Twitch and he shows you how to research or how he's researching, and he does it with you, and it's kind of just like a hangout. Mandy, you said I can't get X. You mean Twitter? No, we watched it earlier in the live. Let's see. There is a whole page dedicated to who Nate actually is on your YouTube. It's called Valhalla Exposed. Oh, I don't know, Jennifer. I don't know. Either way, I'm not even going to watch it because I don't know. Well, I don't know. I just am one of those people where I'm not trying to put bad juju out into the world. I'm good. People have to, that's their business. Thank you for streaming this. No problem. That room you're in is cute. I'm living for the charcoal dark green with the gold accents. Thank you. Yeah, my walls are iron ore, and then my furniture is tricorn matte black. It's kind of like a I did like a vintage, like Italian, like statues, like romantic, moody look in here. I like a moody bedroom. It's just relaxing. It's just, I don't know. I just like it. Egyptian planes keep going. It's international stuff above elected leaders. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Let's see. Huachuca Live 2. Thank you so much for the super chat. I've been at this for over 6 years and had 2,000 subscribers. I'm the only person representing 1 million deaths in the opioid epidemic, including my son in 2022. I have 2,000 videos. How did you get so big in 3 months? Honestly, I prayed about it. I'm not joking. I literally was talking to God about my purpose, and I was like, use me as a vessel to, move me however you need me. And I just told him I need a purpose. I will be responsible with whatever this is, and I just want to do whatever work you have for me. And so he told me, and I drive in the quiet because I tell people that's when God talks to you, in the quiet. So I never drive in the car with music usually. And I talk to God all day. I just pray. I just talk to him all day. I'm like, oh, well, this or that, or, even about the simplest things. And so I remember it was like probably like a month in, not even. No, it was like a month in. And I only had like 100 subs. And I told God, I said, if I heard you wrong, just let me know. I said, but if I heard you right, can you give me a sign that I'm doing the right thing here? Like just any kind of sign that I'm on the right track and this is where you wanted me. And because if not, I'll get it right. I'm listening. I'm ready. And I woke up the next day, you guys, and I went viral. I went viral on I shared a sermon that I found and started talking about it and broke it down, and then Project Constitution saw it, and I had already gone viral on YouTube, but then it ended up on X, and then people were sharing it, and it just turned into a whole thing. And like I told you guys that I was doing those the lives when Candace was on vacation with Ryan Madden and Sam Parker and them. I was just sitting in there. So what we did tonight on X, I was sitting in those listening to them talk because they didn't have video about the Charlie Kirk investigation while Candace was on her vacation, and just listening to people talk about footage and sharing different theories and tossing around ideas to try to, keep the conversation going. And Ryan Maddow was like, hey, my documentary's coming out. I'm going to, interview on some podcasts. There's so many slots. Let me know if you want to interview me. And I was like, well, I only got, like 100 subs. Like, you're going to be speaking to no one. But I was like, well, it can't hurt. And he was talking about something I was very passionate about that I had been, working on in the background and trying to be active, in the community and do what I could to try to help in that, similar situations. And so I just wrote him a message and I was like, I know that I have no following. I was like, but I would love to interview you and blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'll do it. And so we did the first interview and he was like, you're really knowledgeable and we want to do a part 2 tomorrow. And then I did a part 2. And then, ultimately I'm here because of God. It's nothing about it is me. It's him. And so all I can say to you is pray about it. Pray for wisdom, obedience, patience, knowledge, guidance, discernment, and he will guide you. And you have to be willing, you have to be ready to listen. And you have to, I'd gotten to a point where I was like, it's in God's hands. I was like, I can't, wherever he's going to move me, he's going to move me. I like fully submitted. And then it was like, And then, I prayed for thicker skin. And then the next day I woke up to like a PR nightmare of an argument with Barron. And, I looked at the sky and I'm like, thank you, God. I know you're hearing my prayers and you're really answering them. But did we think that was the way to thicken my skin, was to give me like the craziest drama ever? And I woke up to that the next day, So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just get on here and I just am who I am. I'm authentically me. And I just try to be encouraging and kind and lead with that and lead with truth. And people will follow. People right now, I think, are craving authenticity and honesty and truth tellers, and people that aren't afraid to not say something that's not popular, right? It's about saying what you truly feel and being okay if that's not the most liked in the room, and about being kind and being vulnerable and honest. I talk about my lupus. I talk about anything and everything. I'm an open book. There's probably nothing that I don't tell people, because I'm not ashamed of any part of me, because everything that's happened, good or bad, has brought me to where I am. It's made me who I am in some way. So I just think embracing yourself and embracing who you are. And I didn't think I was even this likable, to be honest with you. I mean, I didn't think I was a bad person, but I just didn't foresee this is where I would be this fast. It's like, I don't even know what advice to give you other than pray about it, and just what's meant for you will be. And when you're on the path that God wants you to be on, you will know. Like it is unquestionable when I get on here and talk to you guys, or when I create videos. It's an urge. It's hard to explain. It's just, you will know. You will know when you are where he wants you to be. And sometimes it's, this could have flopped and this wasn't what he wanted for me. We're all called to do different things, and we all have different purposes, and just don't give up. If you like podcasting and you like creating videos and you're talking about things that matter, keep going. Post more. I mean, there's plenty of days where I'm in pain and I don't feel good, but I just, I push through, because my life isn't going to change by me doing nothing. So we're all in control of our own destiny here as well. So, there's a lot of people out there that are successful and they failed a million times before they became successful. So, it's overnight success it's not common. And when that happens, typically the longevity is not there. So I would just embrace growing slow. I was prepared to grow slow. I really thought it was going to take years for me to get anywhere. And I was okay with that. I was like just doing this just because I like talking about this kind of stuff. I like talking about true crime. I like talking about politics. I like talking about, court cases. I was doing that on my TikTok anyway. So, this was just like a longer form content type thing, and it just led me here. But it's not like I did this and said, "Hey, I'm going to blow up overnight and I'm going to be super strategic about this or that." I just get on here and yap, to be honest with you guys. I just get on here and say whatever it is that I want to say, and I just lead with my truth, and that's it. And I'm okay with not being liked, by the way. I think majority of the time when you're doing the right thing and you're walking with God, you're not going to be liked, and you're going to have a harder road than most. And you just have to be okay with that. It's just all a part of it. As long as my husband, first off, God's opinion matters, and my husband's. My mom, my dad, my brothers, that's it. That's all I really worry about. Aside from that, you're never going to please everybody, and you're never going to be liked by everybody. And so you just worry about if you like yourself and if you like the content you're putting out there. So I don't really know what I do specifically. I couldn't tell you, because I just am just true to who I am. And that's that. I'm so behind on comments, you guys. I'm trying. Thank you so much for the messages about, wow, proud of you. Nothing but love for you, hon. Thank you. You are not crazy. Bless you. It's working. Yeah, I've had a rough couple years, but if anything, my testimony, I think, hopefully will help somebody realize that, when you think your life is falling apart, and you think it's over and you're just going to lay in bed and die, because when I got diagnosed, I that's what I wanted to do. I was like, if this is what my life is, I would rather not be here. But I could tell you that since starting this channel, it's really it's been such a blessing. It's given me this I don't know. I love what I do, and I'm thankful. And I just think there was a saying that I always say that helped me, and I saw it, and it was, sometimes God brings you back to ashes to essentially, turn you into something more beautiful. So I always thought of myself as maybe God's bringing me, to ashes, and he isolates you when he's working on you. And so it can feel, lonely. It can feel like you're, spinning your wheels. But that's when his best work is going on, and you just have to trust the process. And so that's how I try to think of it now. But believe me, going through it, I wasn't always like that. So it's just one of those things where, we all have our ups and downs. Let's see. My mom died from shock when she heard about her first grandson. My only son was murdered same day. Lost both of my young sons or son-in-laws within 2 years after. So I understand. I'm so sorry for that. Loss is hard. There's no right way to grieve. There really isn't. My dad's been gone. It'll be 3 years in August, and I'm still in shambles. I just deal with it a little bit better now than I did. And even then, I don't think I still do, but some days are better than the others, and just give yourself grace. Much respect for you and all that you've done to come this far, and yet you are here for us. You guys are here for me just as much. I appreciate it. I think that, like I said, hopefully my story helps people realize that, anything's possible. And, I have 2 debilitating diseases that aren't curable. You can try to manage the symptoms, but every day I wake up and I'm in pain and I don't feel good. Like, the days of feeling normal are over, and I just push through. I just, take on a project or something to keep my mind busy, or, you find things to, and some days I just stay in bed. If you guys don't see me all day, you guys probably can assume that, I just don't feel good and I'm resting. And that's important too. So I just think it's about, listening to yourself. Don't let other people dictate anything. It's all those things. Let's see. Jared, thank you so much for the super chat. Maybe Tyler knows he doesn't need better lawyers. Keep his mouth shut. Sit in jail for a few months as the feds screw up evidence. Whole family walks with a big payday. So I mean, that's possible too. A lot of people have actually talked about that. I mean, in one world, could a patsy be paid off? I'm sure, technically, right? Allegedly, of course. Like, this is all speculation. I mean, we just don't know. And like I said, I don't know if we'll ever know. But we will know, we know the truth about JFK. Like, we don't, like Candace says, no, but we know no. So that has to be enough, and we have to be prepared for that. And I think that everyone should start preparing for that, because, like I said, we may not get justice in this life. But believe me, whoever is a part of this, I wouldn't even want to have to, like I said, it's, it's going to be that justice we can't give. So, we'll see. Let's see. Oh, Candace just asked Ian to be there. Oh, okay. So that's what it was. Well, I thought that he was going to kind of speak too. And at one point when he was mediating, I kind of thought he was going to say something, but I guess not. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to read. Let's see. Let's scroll down here. The original plan was to create a new Jesus, but they failed. The hit went wrong. Too many cameras. That's what I say. There's too many cameras nowadays. You can't get away with what they're trying to pull off. Thank you, Mike, for the super chat. Just love your content. You've proven to me that you want to tell truth, and that's all I want. Keep fighting for that and that alone. All love and respect. Thank you so much. I try. I'm always trying to continue to dig and continue to share information that I come across, or and a lot of the research, it's hard because I was sick and Kristen helps me, but now Kristen has food poisoning. So we between me being sick and then her being sick, we're all taking turns, and it's just hard to really put a ton of stuff together right now, unfortunately. So we'll be back on the ball hopefully soon. Praying. I promise you Candace will be okay with you doing that. I sure hope so. I'm sure people will be mad, like, oh, you streamed her thing from X. I'm sure I'll get all kinds of hating comments, but it's like, I mean, X is literally horrible. I mean, I wouldn't have it. Like I said, I think it's very toxic. People are awful on there. And really, I mean, I figured we could do some commentary and talk about stuff, and it was important. It was important to listen to her answer those questions. I'm sure people will like cut up videos and like do that stuff, but I would find it hard to believe that Candace would care. I mean, I'm a small channel. I'm really just trying to keep people informed. And really, I wanted to share that too, because there's a lot of people on here questioning about Mitch. So I wanted people to see that like she's willing to withstand all that questioning. You can call her whatever you want, but I mean, she literally is going in front of everybody and saying, ask me anything, I'll answer it. There's a lot of people who don't have the guts to do that. To me, you have to have some kind of respect for a person like that, Let's see. I don't know how to say this name. ACRADILT. I've been critical of you. However, I'm realizing you are a good person. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that come on here and are critical of people, and I encourage you to try not to be that way, because you just don't know what someone's been through. You don't know why someone is the way they are. You just don't know. And again, it comes back to kindness. Like, who is anybody to come on here and say if I'm a good person or not? This is social media at the end of the day. I'm a real person. I'm a human. People who don't like the word said a lot or something like that. It's like, I have SLE lupus that affects my brain, heart, and kidneys. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, some of my symptoms are neurological, and I have bad brain fog. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and a lot of the people that do that stuff, it's just petty because they're just unhappy people. Unhappy people just do that kind of stuff. And that's why the block button is great. But yeah, I mean, people do that all the time. It's not right. I try, if you're not too mean, to not block you. And I try to reason with people and tell people like, hey, listen, just because you don't like X, Y, or Z doesn't mean you should go open your mouth, because you just don't know. And, there's a lot of people who are critical of people. And I think it's interesting that when people are critical of people, it's like, well, then you have the guts to start a podcast, instead of correcting me. If you could do it better, do it better. But most of the time those people are like, oh no, I can't. Well, then what are you doing? Why are you even saying anything? It's just logic. Logic is not there these days. New subscriber here. Love your channel. Thank you, Carol. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here, for your support. Let's see. So yeah, if there's anything I can say at the end of the live here is that try to be kind, try to have patience with people. If you don't like somebody who you know what I mean, you don't like somebody, you don't have to tell them. Like, what happened to, like, I don't know, my dad was always like, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it. Keep moving. Like, why would you waste your precious time on somebody you don't like? I just encourage, if you guys don't agree with people, you don't have to eat someone alive. You don't have to tear them down. Tearing someone down isn't going to make you any prettier, richer, better. It doesn't help you in any way. Take that energy and try to better yourself is my advice. We all have areas to improve. I could have been like Candace Owens and had media training, and then I could do a whole scripted podcast and sound more professional, but here we are. And eventually one day, I'm sure I'll sound a million times better. That's a part of growing and learning. So just be kind to people. Just what I don't understand. It's a free thing to keep scrolling. Never once have I saw someone and thought, oh, I should stop here and say something awful to this person because I don't like what they're saying or I don't like what they're wearing or whatever. I'm just like, if I don't like you, I just keep going. It's very simple. And I think the world would be a lot better if people took that energy and used it in a positive way. And so that's the advice I want to put out there is if you're critical of somebody, you don't like how they do something, then maybe you should get involved. If you don't like how Candace Owens runs her channel, why don't you get involved and start a channel? And why don't you start looking into corruption and exposing things and get involved? You can't complain when you don't do anything to help the situation either, So, and like I said, I don't have the answers, all the answers, guys. This is just my opinion. And I think the world would be a better place. Patriarch Housewife is such a good channel name. You're going to be successful, girl. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Use your own discernment. Exactly. Everybody should be using their own discernment. God gave you the Holy Spirit, which is your gut feeling, and a brain for a reason. And it's not to be told how to think and feel. So, we'll see. We'll see how Allie from Mr. Lecco, yes. So, I just think that that's where we should probably leave it tonight. It's late. It was a busy live. I'm debating if I should pull this, put it on private and break it up into videos or not. Like I said, I don't want any trouble. It might be better for me to just do that because I don't know what the rules are. I could even email Candace and just ask her, if she's okay with me having it posted permanently or not. I don't want any trouble. But it was important that we heard the questioning and what questions were asked because some people had those same questions, and hopefully it gave people relief knowing, what those answers were, her answering those. And, it takes a lot of guts to let people rapid fire questions at you when you're being you're not everyone's biggest fan in so many words, So I got to give her credit. When God works on us, it feels like we're an orange being squeezed. I'm convinced he's purifying us. Blessings to you. Thank you so much, Miriam. Yeah, when God's working on you and you're in the right place and you're where he wants you, you guys, I'm telling you, you will know. There will be no question. I have never felt more fulfilled in my life. I have never felt more driven despite being tired. You will know. And at the end of the day, if there's anything that could be said about me, I just want to be that I was kind and I was honest and I did what was right. My dad was big on integrity. Do the right thing when no one is looking. That's what matters. Because you have to live with yourself and you have to answer for those things. And so my integrity is everything. And how I treat people is everything. My dad would give someone the shirt off their back. So I'm just very much like my father. I see also before I hop off here, people are saying love Trigger Smart. Trigger Smart was actually in my live not that long ago. It was probably like a week and a half ago. And he's in the chat. And then I was like, oh, well, if you want to, hop in the live. And he did a 2-hour live on a random live. He just was like, okay, I'll hop in here. He's super nice. Matt is super nice. Oh, he's in here. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Oh my gosh. Matt, we've been in here forever. I hope I don't get in trouble because I streamed that live from X earlier because people were saying X is super toxic, which it is. and they don't want to download it. So I said, okay, well, we'll just have like a pajama watch party and talk about everything. And I don't know if I should leave it posted or not. I don't think Candace would care because I wanted people to get some of these questions. I knew that questions were going to be asked that people wanted too. And so we've been at this for 3 hours and 20 minutes, which is a crazy long stream. But I don't know. I just felt like it was good to have a little watch party and talk about, talk about this whole Mitch thing because it seems to be causing quite the uproar. And I don't know. I just felt it was important. Like I said, we're trying to spread truth here, trying to spread the information. It's the only way we're going to get answers is by working together. And I don't know. I just think that was important. So hopefully Candace won't care. But like I said, I may take it down and just break it up into several little videos. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, I'm reading more. X is toxic. It's so bad. I hate going on there. But it's like the first place that everyone say way more than ever we need truth. Thank you for aiding Jesus and bringing the message of living truthfully. Thank you so much. I appreciate that super chat. Trigger Smart said it's not illegal. I would leave it unless they contact you. Okay, then I'll leave it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Candace would. Candace is all for spreading the truth. It was weird that she didn't do it on YouTube. She said she didn't have access, I think, to her home office. And then there was someone else that said she was sick. So I think it was about that. Matt, what did you think of the live? And what did you think about everything on X? I mean, this whole Mitch thing has got a lot of people riled up. It's really got people bothered. It's kind of crazy how bothered it's got people. I don't know. I'm with Candace. I was just like, listen, oh, please leave it up. I'll leave it up. Like, I'll do what Matt said. Matt said it's not illegal. I just want to make sure. I figured it was fine, but I just didn't know. So, I just wanted to make sure. Matt, I don't know if you guys have watched Matt's video, but the exploding mic theory that's something. I mean, that was a good video. That was a good interview. The fact that the plant blew up like 30 days after everything was even more bizarre. More bizarre. It was crazy. I don't know. There's just too many things that are weird now. The space seemed rushed with choice speakers. Good conversation though. Yeah, it kind of did seem rushed, but Candace never goes really for that long. I mean, her podcast is only an hour long, so she did longer than I thought. I don't know. I was kind of shocked by Harrison a little bit too. But I think I'm just shocked by InfoWars in general since this is all going on. Like the way Alex Jones has acted has really, really puzzled me. She sounded congested. Yeah, she did. I'm telling you, this flu that's going around, it's got me still. So, she said she'll be back this week. Looks like she's not in her home studio. Yeah, she definitely was in her home studio. I think she doesn't want to stream on YouTube without her team. That's possible too. I don't know. I think she's not coming back until the 5th. So not this week. I think it'd be next week, right? I gotta look at it. Yeah, it wouldn't. Oh, well, Friday? No, that's not a Friday. It's Monday, yeah. Candace isn't gonna come back, I think, till after the yeah, Matt's video is really good. The exploding mic theory, like I said, what are the odds that it was the factory? What was it, Nashville? Magically had that incident, and but people brought up a good point with the residue. Anybody who was there that day, they should submit their shoes or something for the residue that he talks about that's like super toxic. Why wouldn't people need to be swabbing it? Mm-mm-mm. That's what I think. Miriam, did I miss it? I just read it. Your super chat? Let me see. I read it, but hold on, let me look. Yeah, when God works on us, it feels like we're an orange being squeezed. I'm convinced he's purifying us. Blessings to you. No, I for sure think this is the time for everyone to go on their walk with Christ, you know? I mean, I definitely would be. And depending how we handle all this, I think it dictates a lot, you know? This is I think it's on us, guys. I think it's coming together and doing the right thing and working together, and I don't know. I just think it's a defining moment and we can make it or break it. And we'll see. But I'm going to hop off here. Thank you, Matt, for popping in. I'm going to actually go watch your live because I know you were live earlier. I tried to watch a little bit before I even got on my stream, actually. So you guys should definitely check out Matt's page if you haven't followed him. His videos are awesome. He's done some really great interviews. I would definitely suggest going over there and watching stuff. And then I appreciate you guys being here with me. 3.5 hours. I've never done a stream this long before. I appreciate you guys so much. I had so much fun. I love when we all get to just like talk about different things, anything and everything. So it was really a pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you for the super chat. I have a hard time pronouncing names sometimes. Eldridge, is that it? Thanks goes to your husband for his service and sharing you with us. Appreciate you both. Good job tonight. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. You guys, he's my biggest cheerleader. He's always on here. Oh my gosh, you're at this many subs now. Oh my gosh, we're celebrating tonight. We're getting takeout. Oh my gosh, look at he's I think sometimes he's more excited than I am. Not to sound rude, but I think I'm like in shock. I just don't even everything has happened so fast. So he cracks me up. He really is my biggest cheerleader though. So I know he appreciates all of you. And I appreciate the conversation. And I hope that we continue to have positive, fun lives where we can talk about things and be respectful, hang out and laugh, talk about life. And yeah, I look forward to 2026. We're starting it off on a really high note. So I appreciate all of you guys. Best PJ party ever. It was the best PJ party ever. We should continue this. We like that you are real. Thank you. Because I like being real. I am not, you could ask my husband. I am not a good faker. I don't even try. I'm not capable. Please check out, okay, so Carrie, thank you for the super chat. Please check out the article by Kat Espinda. I'm going to write that down. Kat Espinda on 4/29/25 that documents how Mitch was unfairly targeted by many people. According to this, he was definitely a victim of Me Too. Oh, I'll definitely look at that. Thank you for pointing that out. I will definitely look into that. I love you all. You guys are amazing. You guys are so kind. Love on your family. Please tell someone you love them. Spend time outside. Read a book. Don't just, sit on the internet day after day. It's not a healthy place. But I appreciate you guys. And I will be live again. What's Wednesday? Because I usually go live Monday and Wednesday. Ooh, I might not be live Wednesday because we are going to hang out with our friends for New Year's Eve. So I might not. Maybe we'll do Thursday, or I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll make up for the Wednesday though. And then I will definitely be posting videos tomorrow. So be on the lookout for those. And yeah. I can't believe we did 3.5 hours. That's awesome. And let's see. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. And Happy New Year for those of you that are going out of town or you're not going to be around. In case I don't talk to you before then, or I hope you guys are safe. Please be safe and careful, please. And I will see you guys all soon. XAK Twitter is the worst place on the internet. It really is. You guys are the best. Get some sleep. Night.